All right, this is the meeting of the Board of Assessment Appeals. It is Monday, March 21st, 5:32 p.m. We're here to deliberate and decide on appeals properly brought before the board. Let's take attendance. Kathy, go ahead and take attendance.
Okay. Colette Kuzo,
Here.
Helene Daly,
Here.
Carol Langland,
Here.
Kathleen Griffin,
Here.
Peter Rupert,
Here.
Very good.
Katie,
We have a quorum.
Katie Gusson is not here yet. Judy Zablak.
Katie Gusson will be absent and Judy should be here shortly.
Okay.
But we have a quorum now, so we can get started.
Okay.
Okay. So Helene, I think you're up first with appeal. Oh, first of all, before we go any farther, the minutes that were already submitted. Did everybody see the minutes from last week?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So can we just vote on whether or not we're going to accept those minutes? Because I don't want this done on the last day where we go through 10, 15 pages of minutes.
I don't think we can anyway, because some people have to get their notices.
No, I think you can. What do you mean they have to get their notices?
Oh, I thought Ross was saying we needed to approve them in order for the notices to be sent out.
We have to approve them for the notices to be sent out, or do we have to just give them to him?
No, I think he
We have
just
to approve them.
for him doing that. Yeah. Carol.
Here until the very end. So go out a little at a time. They have to go out based on the date they had we made the decision, I believe. I don't believe you can't just wait till the end. So I think we can vote on those. Any problems with the minutes?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, this is Kathleen. I have a few changes.
Okay.
Kathy, do you have them up? Do you guys want to, I don't know if you want me to make a motion or how you want me to say, to amend the 3:14 minutes. A few things. If you can just, it looks like Helene wasn't there when the meeting started. So if you can just, when people come and go, just put it in italics at the time that they come and go. So looks like for that one, she came at 5:19. We started at 5:14. So just somewhere in the middle of appeal, 18, I guess, right? Like you do when they leave. Like Peter left at, was that the one Peter left? I think it marks when he left. Just that idea, so that the coming and going lines up with the votes. Yeah,
Right,
Peter's on
okay.
page.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so even if it's in the middle
I
of
did
the-
it, I guess I did it the next day. I just felt Helene was there for the deliberation. She didn't have to abstain or anything, so.
Yeah.
Okay, the
I mean-
time difference between 5:14 and 5:19, so that,
I think Helene was there for the whole thing. She had trouble getting in, so we waited.
Yeah. I just couldn't get in because I had to change my email address. It wouldn't let me in. So once I did that, and then I called in, but I wasn't on camera. I think that and first day.
yeah, the minutes just say that you arrived at 5:19 and the first appeal started at 5:14. So, I mean, just adjust your arrival time so that it matches, just because you did vote on the first one. So it just, whatever.
Okay, I got that. Yeah.
Next
Whole
one,
thing is just, it just makes it look like you voted on an appeal that you didn't hear the whole thing for, and I wouldn't want that if that wasn't the case. So, and then the other thing that I noticed was we're using the word market value. Is there a reason we're not using the word appraised value? Only because
Yes,
that's what's on the card people are used to, and I don't know that we really know what the true market value is. We just know what the town appraised it at. Last year we used appraised for assessed, so I'm not sure why we started using market.
if we're using appraised and assessed, we're discussing the appellate's value and the town's value. That's the way it should be. Well, if we're talking about market value, when we're discussing the appeal and deciding on an issue, deciding based on that value, then that's correct, because we're supposed to be looking at fair market value. It all
Right.
depends on using those words. So when are we using the words?
For example, in the first appeal, it just says a motion was made, blah, 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 to grant the appeal and reduce the market value from 525 to 450. I just think it should say the appraised value from 525 to 450. Because we always use, in everything we write, we use the word appraised or assessed, right? So I just don't want the public to get confused, that's all.
Well, this is Kathy. I think I used market value because on the appeals, it asked the appellate for the market value. So that's what they were calling the appraised value.
Yeah, I think we did that on the form just because there wasn't room to put both words and the public was getting confused by the word appraised and they were always filling it in with the assessed value. So that's why we used market and then we explain it. But I think in terms of like technically, I think it just should match what the field cards say, what the website says, you know what I'm saying, rather than just the form they fill out, that's all. But I mean, I guess it's semantics. I guess we just don't really know. We can't, the market value it's an unknown for sure, right? We just know what it was appraised at. So we're reducing the appraised value. So I think last
Okay,
year.
so do you want me to change them all to appraised?
I think it's easier. I think it lines up with 95% of what we do, how we talk about the appraised value. That's all. We can vote on it if you guys. Yeah. So the next one was number 7. The vote doesn't match for the opposed. The vote's 5-2-0, and it says there were 3
Yeah,
people
I fixed that
opposed.
one. Yeah, I saw that. I fixed that.
Okay, and then is this one? I just took a couple notes. Where's number 28? Is that in tomorrow's or that's in this one? I think 28 is in the next night, right? The farm. I think the farm. Oh no, there it is. Bunch Row. So in number 28. To grant the appeal to classify an additional 1.5 acres as pasture. I think it needs to be as, right? I don't think we can designate what the assessor calls it. We can just change the status. So I think we change the status to farmland, to farm, and reduce the assessed value to 560, therefore reducing the assessed value to 560. Because I don't think she argued the appraised value.
It's my appeal. I have no problem with the way it is.
Remember that
we didn't reduce the value, did we?
on the when you look at the PA, whatever it is, the statute, it gives you the different types of farmland. So whatever, I mean, if an acre and a half, I mean, if that's what we want it to be, then that's what it has to be. We get to choose. We get to override the assessor when farms. If we think
we get to override their status, right? So we, like, if they want nonprofit status, we get to override that. If they want farm status, we get to override that. I just don't think they changed their appraised value, did they? Did that also change from, or just the
No,
assessed
just the
change?
assessed.
Right. So we didn't reduce it. The minutes say we reduced the appraised value. I don't think we did. We just, classified it as a additional 1.5 acres as farmland. And, thereby reducing the assessed value to 560, something like that.
Okay, so the appraised value stayed the same.
I don't
Yes.
think that, I don't think she cares either way, but that's
Well,
fine.
okay, we just changed the assessed.
Right. Or we changed the status, and therefore that changed the assessed, right? That's why they get it. So
Yes,
there's
we
no,
changed the status. Yep, but it's only going to, in the end, it's only going to change the assessed, not the appraised.
right. And it's because we changed her status, therefore the assessed value changed.
Yes,
We changed the status.
yes, we changed the status back to farm.
How we did before. Okay, those were the 3 or 4 things for that one.
Okay. All those in favor of accepting the minutes for Monday, the 14th, as changed, please indicate by raising your hand.
Okay, it's unanimous.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any issue with Tuesday's minutes?
I have a couple of things on Tuesday.
Okay. We'll
Same
stop.
thing with the arrival. Yeah, with the arrival time, I think Peter came in at 5:33. If we can just slide that in where he came in, that'd be helpful. And then, let's see, I think the same thing. Let me see, number 51. Where is that? It's a personal property. Not in order. So let's see, it's on page 2. It's the second one. Grant the appeal and remove the penalty for not filing a personal property declaration. I think he did file. I
Yeah,
think it's
he
because
did. I made that correction. Uh-huh.
filed. Okay, yeah, because I think he filed, right, Carol? Was that yours? 51
Say it
to
again?
427. He.
He did file. He
Okay.
filed late. Jan told me, or somebody from Ross's office.
Okay, so you got that one. And then the only other one was number 23. And that is, where's 23? Was the I&E one. Ramp LLC, it's at the top of page 4. That actually was, I don't even know that we've had those before. The type is probably more like an I&E. So we didn't really reduce the market value. His appeal was to waive the penalty, just like personal property. So it wasn't to reduce the market value. It was, it's not that he appealed to commercial property and wanted us to value it at less. He wanted us to remove the 10% IE penalty because he filed, same as the other, he filed late. It's just when you file your I&E late, you get a 10% you get a 10% penalty. When you file your personal property late, you get a 25% assessment penalty.
Okay.
So that one should just, like the others, it's just, right? He just wanted to appeal his, the penalty on his I&E.
Okay.
Does that make sense, Kathy?
Yes.
I mean, however you want to word it so that, yeah, it looks like he appealed the value, and that's why it's he really wasn't. He was appealing the penalty.
Okay. Okay, it looks like Judy joined.
Hello. You're
Hi.
Hi, Cap. Hi, everybody.
Let the show that Judy Black arrived at 5:45. Please.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So where are we now? Hello.
That's it.
Okay. So now we're voting on the minutes for Tuesday. All those in favor of accepting the minutes for Tuesday, the 15th, as corrected, please raise your hand.
Okay, so 5 in favor and Judy.
Yeah, you said as corrected, so I don't know what you corrected it to, so I can't vote in favor of it, so I'll abstain.
Okay.
We have a quorum, so that's
Hello,
fine.
Judy.
Hello.
Okay. Wednesday, the 16th. Are we ready to do those minutes or no?
I haven't seen him yet.
Okay, then we'll hold off. All right, Helene, let's get started.
They're fine yet, are they? Have they been submitted yet or no? Did I miss
Only
them,
to
Carol?
I only submitted them to the executive board, or the chair, vice chair,
Okay.
and treasurer. And Ross's office has been helping correct them too.
Okay. So we'll wait on those.
Yeah.
Helene, you're first with appeal number 61.
62.
62? Okay, 62, whatever.
Refresh my memory. What are we doing here? Am I making a motion to hear this? Am I making?
Yes, you make the motion to hear it. Make the motion to hear it. Yep.
All right. This is Helene, and I make a motion to hear appeal number 62. The appellant is John and Margaret Philbin at 175 Parkwood Road. They are requesting a value of 800,000. The town has them valued at 933,200. This is pretty.
Doesn't someone have to second it? I'm sorry.
Oh,
Oh, don't we? No, because she was just,
I thought that you said you would
second,
second it all the
I'll
time, Paulette.
I'm seconding. Yep, that's right.
Okay, all right. So if you look in the notes, there's an appraisal here from, October 1st, 2020. And that appraisal is, 800,000, pretty straightforward. This house needed so much work. Oh my gosh. It was, had a lot of mold issues inside there. If you drive by this property, they've taken so many trees down because the house was just covered in shade and trees all over this house, which is why they had so many problems inside when they bought it. They had to put on a new roof. It, you know, it was so old. Great house, beautiful, classic colonial, but it needed so much work. It needed updating with plumbing. When they opened up some of those walls, they did find mold, and they've just done a lot of work. But bottom line is there's an appraisal here for October 1st, 2020 from Jeff Smith, and that appraised value is 800,000. If you want to take a look at the comps, Mountain Laurel Road, appraised for 839.6. 97 Webb, which isn't really a great comp for that, but anyway, that closed at 758, 770. Stony Brook, I wouldn't even use that, but Springer Road, 860, 200. And I think those are the three out of the 6 comps that he used that were the best. And it's 800,000.
This is Paulette. I also want just to bring this up too. In 2021, when they finally closed, he only paid 675,000.
Yes.
The market up dramatically between 20 and 21.
Paid
Then
65.
800,000 in 2020. So I think he's being very generous if we're looking at a 2020 value.
Yeah, he closed on June 9th, 2021 for 675. So, I agree, Paulette. He's definitely being generous. When I met with them, I said, "Are you sure you don't want to go lower?" And he said, "No, I think this is fair, and this is what the appraisal came out to." And Jeff Smith is a very thorough, as you know, very thorough appraiser. I respect his work immensely, and I think that he did a good job with this. So I'm inclined to say yes, approve this at 800. But anybody have any other?
I think he sold himself short. I'd be 800 every day of the week. I have no issue with this at all.
And just because we had somebody that was interested in it as well. We had an issue with the offers, but he offered 400,000, and the bank would not budge on their price. So,
and this property was on the market for a long time.
yeah. So I see
everybody had the same issue, like, whoa, way too much work.
Yeah.
This is Kathleen. So this is actually like 2 streets over from me. So I walk my dog past this one. It's one of those walk my dog past all the time. So I think it was in foreclosure. It's an unqualified sale, first of all, with a code of 25, which means that I got the code table today for that. So it was in foreclosure. Also, the website says that it was only on the market for 7 days and it was taken off. Now, maybe the broker's information on that is wrong, but it was listed in October of 2020, and it looks like it was removed from the market a week later. It was on with a Milford broker, and it looks like it was in foreclosure or it was a bank sale or something like that. So I think that the 675 sale price is not, I think that needs to be taken out of the equation. And then the couple other things, that's one of the nicest streets around here. So the land value on that property, it's 0.7 acre property. The house is almost 4,500 square feet. It's 9,000 square feet unfinished. And also he's done a bunch of work to it. He put in air conditioning, put on a new roof. He redid all the electric, he redid all the plumbing. And so the value on that property, now the appraisal doesn't show any pictures of the inside of the house, but the appraisal tells all the work that he's done. So I don't know if he included that work when he is setting that, but we need to value it as of October 2021. If he didn't pull any permits, I don't know if the new field card's been uploaded yet, but Ross was going to put all the new cards up to see whether he pulled any permits when he did the roof, when he did, all the other work to the property. So I don't see the new field card in there unless somebody else sees it at the end. I thought he uploaded all the new cards.
Well,
But
we
it
are
is-
looking
so
at-
no,
Go
yeah,
ahead.
and I'm also, the houses on that street sell for, a lot, or their new card is at the end there. So I don't know, we can look and see if he pulled permits. 8/11/2021, he has a $40,000 permit to redo the bathrooms, and something for windows for $3,200. So, the appraisal says that he has air conditioning and he's done a bunch of other work to the house. Now, maybe he hasn't gotten his CO yet, but, and there's
Wait a
also.
minute. Kathleen, I
No,
got
wait
a
a-
question for you.
Please,
I
please let
thought
me
you
finish.
were, I just had a question before I forgot. And you had mentioned that we were going back to a value for 2021. Why aren't we going back to 2020? And he didn't do all that work then.
Had this conversation the other night. We need to value it as of the 2021 grand list because that's what this value is. So we're taking a look at the property and the condition it is in October 2021, looking back as if it was on the market in October 2020. So that's
No.
how you value.
See why we
property.
have
So,
to agree to that.
No.
okay,
Period.
so
We're
that's
looking
not,
at 2019 to 2020. That's what we're looking at. I am not looking at 2021. This man did this work after he bought the house in 2021. He has no CO. He pulled permits. I am not, and I don't care how nice the street is. That house was a dump. So I don't think I'm not going to be looking at 2021. The period we're looking at is 19 to 20. So that's Kathleen, that's your opinion. I don't mean to lose my patience. That's fine. If that's
Yeah.
what you think.
And
I am
this
not
house
making
is
a
on the
statement
that's a,
that we are not
that's a real,
looking at
that's
2021.
a really
Where did that come?
important, that's a really important difference. If we are not on the same page about how to value real estate, then we need the assessor on the call, or we need to go back to the manual and take a look at it and see how we're supposed to be valuing the 2021 grand list versus the 2020 grand list. You're looking at sales in that time period, but think about it. If somebody has a house on a lot and they tear it down, they shouldn't have to pay taxes on it for 4 years. Once it comes off the grand list of that year, they stop paying taxes on the house and they only pay taxes on the land. It works the opposite way. So if you improve your house, you put on an addition, you do work to it, at the next grand list that you start to get taxed on the better value of your property. So he, according to the appraisal, even though there's no pictures of the inside, it looks like he did the bathrooms and he put on a roof and he did a lot of work on the house. So regardless of whether it was a short sale or not, the 675 isn't accurate. And I just need to say those are not good comps for this house. Those are in way different neighborhoods. They're way up Springer Road and Ronald Drive and whatever. There's another one over in the Stratfield section of town, Webb Road. Those are not good comps for this property. There's houses right next door on the same street that sold in the 8th that are 2,500 square feet. You can look at 292 Parkwood, sold in December of 2020 for $880, and it's 2,400 square feet, and it's on the same size piece of property.
Much different market.
939 house. Those houses that he comped are built in the 60s and 70s. If you look at the pictures of those houses, they don't look anything like this 1939 Gracious Colonial. It's 4,500 square feet. Like I said, and the base of the thing is 9,000 square feet. So I just think the 9 is completely accurate. You can look at 114 Brookmere, that sold for $965 in 2019. And he used the 2019 comp in his things. He used a pre-comp in his list of comps. So 59 Glen Arden sold in February of 21 for $1,075,000.
Okay.
There's value. I know what the value in the properties is. And
That's-
that's not, that appraisal, I don't believe that appraisal, those comps, he could have used a lot of other comps. There's another one, 60 Deer Park is a very similar old, on a big
We don't have
land.
for every comp. Hello, you made your point. We don't have to hear any more comps. Let me ask you this. So we talked about this last year, and I see we're doing the very same thing again this year. Two things. One, our job is to look at what's in front of us. We're supposed to be seeing if they made their case. We're not supposed to be disproving it when there's no reason to. Second, we talked about the appraisals. Do you have a degree in appraising? Did you go to school for appraising? Do you have a reason to think that you know better than the appraiser? A real valid one that you can prove to us? Because if not, and not just you, anybody on this board, if you can prove to me those things, then I'll take your opinion. Otherwise, I see no reason not to accept those appraisals since the appraiser made adjustments to account for the differences. By the way, where did you get the idea that the bathrooms were done? Does it say they're done somewhere? Because
Yes,
my understanding was they
Yes.
weren't, nor was the kitchen.
Well, and when
says-
he gets
That's
CO,
it in the
And
appraisal.
when he gets a CO, won't they make adjustments on the field card?
Yep.
So that his assessment will, potentially go up?
Yeah,
I
I
mean, I don't-
also want to mention one other thing about this house. I want you, the agents here will be able to agree, I'm sure will agree with me. There's a point of diminishing return when it comes to bedroom count and square footage, right? So this home has 5 bedrooms, 4.5 baths, and it's 4,600 to 75 square feet. Here's your most probable buyer, or your biggest buyer pool is 4 bedrooms, and the 4-bedroom home will actually sell a little bit better than the 5-bedroom. So we have that size, and we also have a big square footage, but a lot of people don't want to handle. So just because one house, a 4-bedroom house, is valued at X amount of dollars, doesn't mean that because you have an extra bedroom and all that extra square footage, you can tack on all that extra money. Sometimes the 5-bedroom is helpful, but in this case, it's not. And the square footage is not. And I don't even know why we're debating it. We have an appraisal in front of us. It says 800. We're all in agreement. I mean, there's nothing, well, I don't know. I say we're all in agreement. I'm in agreement. I don't think we should be wasting time dissecting this when
I
it's
can't
already there from
debate
a professional.
appraisals.
Because you know what, the next time next reval, his assessment is gonna go up, no doubt. But this was not an arm's length sale. It was on the market for 100 days. And I showed it. I tried desperately to sell that because I thought it was a great buy, but nobody wanted it. It just needed too much work. So the fact that he paid, $675 for it doesn't mean that, it was that was what the market, that's what it was worth back then. And the fact that he wants to go to 800, I mean, I think that's being generous.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to say, well, we have to look at 2021, which I disagree with. He paid $675 in 2021. He's saying 800. So he's looking for a number higher than what he actually paid. And by the way, keep in mind, the bigger the house and the more work it needs, the less valuable it is. People don't want to go with the bigger the house, the more money it costs you do. You have to
Can we
factor that.
vote?
Yeah.
We
we
got a
can-
lot to cover. Can we vote?
He didn't pull electrical permits or plumbing permits for this house, right? And is he living in it?
That's
Helene?
not our job. That's someone else's.
No, that has nothing to do with us.
Right. Otherwise, he would have had to be inspected for him to
Pull his
be able
permit.
to move, change the value. So all he pulled a bathroom permit, that looks like, and the 14 windows for $3,200. So those are the permits that he pulled on the property that we can see.
But he doesn't.
So
That's
I
not
did
in the
listen-
evaluation period. That's not
Yeah.
the period we're looking at.
He doesn't have a seat.
but the permits were pulled, and you're right, it may go back up. But Helene, I listened to his appeal because I couldn't believe the price on the house. And you did ask him to provide other, an idea of what houses are selling for on that street. You asked Jeff to bring that information in, and I don't see that in the backup.
Yeah.
So maybe he did
well,
not to provide it.
No, he did, but I honestly, I didn't have it scanned in. I thought Jeff had it sent to the assessor's office. I didn't realize that he didn't send it to him. So I can tell you what, I mean, I was just, he didn't send sales. He sent other properties and what their assessments and land valuations and improvements were. Here's one that 341 Crestwood, their appraised value is, actually, I think this is assessed, 601,440. I mean, I've got another one, 135 Parkwood, 674,8. I mean, this house is in such bad shape. There aren't a lot of houses right around that neighborhood that sold in that condition during the valuation period. So that's
Mind you, your family is your goal.
what,
Peter,
Peter?
I lost-
We can't hear you, Peter.
I don't think it was Peter that was talking.
Who was it?
It was the town of Fairfield, that was screen lit up. So it was whoever's at the town hall.
My phone went off. I'm sorry.
Oh.
Okay, so Peter wasn't speaking.
I
No.
heard him again. Okay. Why don't we just take a vote on this?
I just
Okay,
wanted to get, this is I
If-
wanted to get all
if you-
that information on the record because I think it's important to know that all of that work has been done on the property and that as of October 2021, it's not where it was. And also those comps, I don't know why you didn't use Winton Park or some of the other comps that,
so-
you know, I don't know why you had to go all the way to Webb Road for a
Now-
comp and those houses look anything like this. So I don't like them. And maybe you guys think those are great comps for that house. But personally, if you wanted to walk to the train and walk to Whole Foods and stuff, you're not going to do that from Webb Road. You're not going to do it from Springer Road. Those are not even close to the neighborhood of this house. I would have
All right.
picked, like I,
Okay.
even the ranch on for 800.
Kathleen, you stop. You need to stop. It doesn't matter, Kathleen. You don't need to put that on the record. It doesn't matter what you like better than what the appraiser picked. You do not get to pick the comps during an appraisal. I'm sorry, but that's the way it is. We didn't have an appraisal. You can write all the comps you want, but you're not going to disparage that appraiser and that appraisal like we did 100 times last year. It's inappropriate and I will not stand for it. If you don't like it, that's fine. You can say you don't like it, but we're not going to hear other comps. We have the comps. We need to decide to vote. Let's go.
That's ridiculous, Paulette.
Ridiculous.
That's ridiculous, right? We first of all, we already had, I'll just say, Greg Lane's presentation, he said it's more of an art than a science. So obviously there's some wiggle room there. And we just had an example of Greg Lane having a serious error in his appraisal. So please don't lecture us about these things, right? Just because you work with these people and
So
you
he made a mistake
hold
in
to
another
them,
appraisal.
well, I
Let's
don't
take
know.
him outside
Okay?
and crap out of him because he made one mistake on something. Has nothing to do with this appraisal.
I don't, and I think he's
Okay, let's be
qualified,
fair.
and
I want to be
we
fair.
can
Let's
look
be
at,
fair.
we can look at them. There's nothing
We
that
can
says
look at
that we cannot look at them.
We can look at whatever
You
we
can look at
want.
anything you want. You can
Okay,
look at
well, you know, Kathleen, you
All of it
mentioned,
on
look,
you
I have a
mentioned
right to do that.
90 Parkwood, and that sold for $880 in December of 2020. And I would say that was in much better condition because I don't know of any house in that neighborhood that was in as bad a condition as the subject property. So, you know, again, that's 880. That brings it right in line with what we're talking about.
On 800, am I right? Is that his ask?
What's that?
is that 100?
Yes.
Is his ask 800? Okay. And that Parkwood was 880 and the ranch on the corner sold for 799, and that's a ranch on a busy street, the Crestwood Ranch. That's a really busy corner. And
Yeah,
that sold for 800.
Yes, I
So I'm
sold.
just, I think he could have used a lot of other arguments. I don't like those ones. And I think he's done a bunch of work on the house and it's in the appraisal that he did all the work.
Yeah,
So
but
the
that's
appraisal telling us that, and there's,
That's irrelevant. The fact that we have to look at the valuation period and, and just the fact that he paid $675 for it. If you're talking about 2021, he paid $675 for it. And that's the valuation period you're trying to focus on. He's asking for 800 and he paid $675.
so Paula,
And he did not sell it to anybody else. This is the only guy that actually could get it through with a bang.
yeah, it was an unqualified sale. This is Kathleen. I think we need to take a break and see if we can figure out how we're going to appraise, how we're going to look at properties that have been improved since 2020, because if fundamentally we're not on the same page about that, we should not be discussing this until we can get clarity on that, because that's a really big difference in opinion about how we're supposed to be valuing properties as a board. It's not a judgment of what something is worth or not. It's what period we're supposed to be looking at and the condition and the value of the house on a particular day. And I think we need either the assessor on the phone, or we can take a break and go look at the manual and figure it out. It's not that complicated, and
What manual are you talking about?
different.
What manual is that?
In the assessor's handbook, or you could go to the statutes and see how you are supposed to be appraising property when you put a grand list together. It's all really.
If we tell the public that they have to provide us with comps from 10/1/19 to 10/1/2020, then that's the valuation period we need to look at. We can't change the rules all of a sudden and say, well, okay, now we're going to look at the following year and see what improvements you made to that property. That kicks into effect the next reval.
That's true.
Right, and also,
The CO.
No, that
Any CO that he happens to get. So you
Right,
can't change it midstream for everybody else, for a couple of people. That what happens to everybody else. You would set the town up for a lawsuit to change it now. No, it's what it is. It's 19 and 20. That's what we were told in the beginning. That's how it is now. We're not changing it. I'm not changing that. I'm not changing any of my thought process on it.
Back to every appellate and say, oh, well, now we're looking at the following year too. Now you can change your.
No, I'm not saying we're looking at the following year. You're looking at the value of the property as of October 21st, 2021. So if somebody has a vacant lot and they put a house on it in 2023, you can't tell me they don't pay taxes until 2025. That's ridiculous. They pay taxes as the completion date, how far along the house is as of October 1st of the year of the previous year for the grand list. And that's how they set the grand list every year. So when there's a lot of construction going on, the grand list changes during the, from year to year, and it doesn't change because of a revamp.
CO, exactly. When they get that CO
going on.
I have a question.
Oh, no, they tax you on a percentage of its complete. So if it's 25% complete, you're paying 25% of the value of when
They
it's
don't do it
done. We see that
That's the problem.
property, everything. That's how it works. So you have to look at the condition of the house. And that's why not having the updated field cards has been so frustrating, because we, at least for this one, we see that he pulled a permit for $40,000 to do the first floor bath, 2 first floor baths. And he pulled it in August of 21, but he didn't pull a roof permit. He didn't pull electrical permit or plumbing or anything. I don't see those on here. So I'm just saying, you have to, it's the grand list of 2021 grand list. That's what we're looking at.
Okay,
and
well then,
just, they have and house with if it was on park
that makes sense
2020.
construction, but I don't see how that applies to the average homeowner who already.
You're the chairperson. Please speak.
okay, here's what I was going to say. I've never, ever, in all the times I was on the board, heard that that's what's supposed to be done. Secondly, why did the directions given to the appellants and the taxpayers say, this is the period we're reviewing, and this is a secondary thing we might look at, which is 2021? That's the instructions they were given. Though they're told to come with an appraisal that goes back to, around the value of around October 1st, 2020. And that's what these people are doing. This isn't the first appraisal we've had. Now, all of a sudden, we're going to change the rules, which I will have to say, for the record, That's exactly what happened last year. The rules changed as we went on, which was my biggest frustration. So I'm not asking the assessor. The appraisal is the appraisal. And remember that in the handbook, it tells you that the appraisal should be reviewed by the board, of course, but it should be really looked at by those with the expertise and the knowledge to decide whether or not it's valid. That would be the realtors on the board. So I think it's time to vote. Colleen,
I'm ready.
go ahead.
Oops, stop it. Stop.
Helene,
favor?
make a motion.
Sorry, I make a, oh no, I already made the motion to hear it. So,
Did anybody second it?
I did. So I
Okay.
guess vote. All in favor of granting the appeal to the requested value of $800,000, please raise your hand. I can't see everybody, so it looks like it's 4. I see 4 hands. And there's 6 people. So, okay, so it looks like Carol, Helene, myself, and Judy are voting in favor. I can't see Kathleen and Peter. How are you voting? Hello?
Opposed. This is
Peter?
Kathleen. I'm
Opposed. Okay. Peter?
I vote no.
Okay. So the motion carries by 4-2. Peter and Kathleen are opposed. And my other thing about the CO and the work being done, Kathleen, you're right. On many field cards I've seen that the appraiser has said, okay, 25% done, 30% done, whatever, until they get to their final CO, and then the whole thing is on. However, that's not always the case, which we have, and I'll use it again, Mr. Fazio's property on Fairfield Beach Road. Last time we met last year, he was doing work. He was partially through the renovation. He was not assessed. His assessment had not changed.
Point of order. Point of order.
But
We're not talking about that property. We're not talking about that property. So let's leave
I'm
it.
sorry?
Point of order. It's not on the agenda. Let's move on.
Okay, guess what, Peter? In Robert's Rules of Short Rules, there is no point of order. So let's go on to the next appeal.
Okay, this is Kathy. I think when you bring the appeal to the table, you're actually bringing it to grant. So I think you can just start with that language. It might make it clearer.
Okay,
You make the motion to
grant the appeal.
grant the appeal. Yeah, I think that's what you're doing.
Okay.
all right, good. We can do that. Okay, Helene, I think you're next.
All right, this
Appeal
is,
number-
make a motion to hear and grant the appeal for appeal number 61. This is 423 Fairfield Beach Road. And the appellant is the Fair Acres Association. The town has this strip of land valued at $63,500. And he was asking to go down to nothing. So if you look at the field card, this is the wrong photo to start with. So this photo shows that land in between the boathouse at Jackie Durrell, next to Jackie Durrell Pavilion there. The boathouse where like all the beach boys are in there. And then the house next door, which is just, went under deposit. So the real strip of land that they should have photographed is a little further down, and there's a wrought iron gate, and there's a Fair Acre sign on there. It's basically 5 feet wide by 150 feet deep. It's meant to be, the access is for anyone in the Fair Acres Association, which are those streets right down in that beach area. There's about 400 homes involved, and about 100 people end up paying the current dues are $1,203 each. That covers their insurance, their maintenance. They have to sand the walkway. They have to weed it, and he said there's constantly, like, over the course of the summer when the vegetation grows in, they have to cut everything back. he said there's maintenance involved there. In 2019, the appraised value was 16,900, and then it jumped up to 63,700. So he is asking, I mean, obviously there are no comps for something like this, but he is saying this is just basically a walkway to go down to the beach for the families in that beach area. No one can build on it. It's just a sandy walkway. And there's a lot of maintenance that they have to keep up with on that little strip. He's asking you to go down to nothing. I think that is a little unrealistic, but I just want to open this up to conversation about what we think it should be. It's really anybody's guess right now because there aren't any comps for this. So, it was 16,900. Now it's 63,700. I would love to hear what anyone's thoughts are about this.
This is Kathleen. So we actually did have another strip last year. There's another strip down Fairfield Beach Road, 1701 Fairfield Beach Road. It's owned by the old dam. Maybe Judy remembers it. It's owned by, or Peter, the old dam, or Paulette even, the old dam association owns it, and they use it as beach access. They take a boat across the creek and then they go to the beach. So that's a similar property. And
Wait.
I believe
The one what?
the 1701 Fairfield Beach Road is actually under, the gentleman's name is Weston Charlton or something Trust, but it is actually, if you look at the appeal from last year, that it's the strip of land that they use, and it has a gate on it, and it's for members only from the Old Dam Road Association. So it's a similar thing, and the way I understood it from this property last year was the assessor took the value of the land in that general area. So if you look at this, the Fair Acres property, it's coded as an FB1. So that means Fairfield Beach 1, the beachfront, the one on 1701 is coded as an FB8 because it was in the FB8 area. And then he took the square footage of the piece of land and then he multiplied it times a 0.05. And that's how he coded those two. That's how he valued in the reval. That's how they valued those two access points. Now, just if the photo's wrong, I mean, maybe the dimensions are wrong. I think the town has that particular property as 1,500 square. Did you say it's 15 feet? How wide is the property, did he say?
5 feet by 150 feet long. That's what he said.
So that's 750, right? And they're being taxed as if it's 1,500 square feet. So if he's correct about the size of the property, then an adjustment, that would basically cut it in half. But I would ask the assessor to confirm the dimensions of the lot. They probably take it to the high tide line from Fairfield Beach Road. But that's how they came up with the values. They used the land values in there. If you look on the field card, it's multiplied times 0.05, the same as at 1701 Fairfield Beach Road. And that's how they value the accesses. And then the association members would pay what have they got, 300 or so people in Fair Acres? So the tax 400. So it would be divided, among all the members of.
Yeah, and that's paid by about 100 families.
Yeah, I mean, Old Dam is in the same situation. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying that I know that's how it was done, and there's another piece that's similar to that done in the same way, but that's the 1701 Fairfield Beach Road owned by an association.
I'd be really curious to know what 1701 Fairfield Beach Road was assessed at for the last reval before. What was the difference in change?
I'm looking. Okay, so
curious.
1701, it was 19,500, and then it went to 42,100. So it's interesting. They had a higher appraisal last time than the Fair Acres did, but yet they didn't go up as much this time. They went to 42.
I think that's a very good benchmark for this property. And I wonder, and I don't know the difference between the two, is a 1701, does that have any further improvements other than a sand walk?
Oh, no, that's just like, no,
Same thing, same.
it's just like a little, it's the width of a gate.
Yeah, I know that, I know that.
Yeah.
I think the revaluation number is out of sight. And it's totally unreasonable.
Just-
It shouldn't be taxed as zero, shouldn't be appraised as zero, but we have to come up with a reasonable number.
Right. Let me
Yeah,
just
the
look at the thing here.
one is only 871 square feet. So if the square footage is wrong, that should get fixed, so it's permanently fixed, right? If it's only 750 square feet and not 1,500, then that should be recorded, but I don't want to make the judgment. I mean, I would have the assessor's office make sure they're valuing the correct path and measuring it correctly.
Let me just see here, 423. 1669. That seems like a pretty big difference between, I mean, that it's basically the same concept of it's just a pathway to the beach. So the fact that one it might take you a little bit longer to get down to the beach. I just don't see why that should be, another 20,000 more in appraised value. It seems kind of high to me. It doesn't make sense. It's not buildable land. It's a 5-foot pathway to the beach. In my opinion, they're kind of both the same. I mean, if one is, a quarter of a mile, or not even, it's not even a mile. I don't even know how to, if one takes you 50 more steps to get to the beach than the other one, is it worth 20,000 more?
I think it's the location, because the one of them is valued as an FB1. That's the Fair Acres one, because it's right down in the prime beach area, right? That's the highest valued land, is an FB1. And then FB8 is much less accessible to the Pine Creek people. So I would say it's more valuable in the FB1 area than the FB8 area. And just in turn, that's how they valued land in the beach area, right? They came up with the different FBs for the different amounts of beachfront and where the land values sell. So that's how they came up with that value. They used the FB1 and took a 0.05 for that square footage of lot.
I think the land value I think we have to look at how many steps. And I'm going to tell you something, it's less desirable to have more steps there in order to get to the water. So
It's almost counterintuitive.
I think
forget that the land value would normally be higher. I'm going to tell you something. It takes longer to get to the beach. I would rather be able to go to the other. I think that the other 1701 is worth more because it's closer to the beach.
Well, yeah. Yeah, well, I think the other thing is 1701 is far more private, and there's far fewer people accessing that pathway than 423. I mean, I don't see why that would be, 423 would be viewed as more valuable. I mean, that's a crowded beach area there, even with that private little strip, and once you get down there, you're not with all the people from Penfield, but still, that's a crowded beach area. Whereas further down the street, that's a very, very private part of the beach.
Because they have to take a boat to get to it. They have to go across the creek, right? Because those people, it's Old Dam Road who owns that right away down there. So their access, they have to take a boat from Old Dam Road across the creek, dock, and then go use the beach from that pathway. None of those people who are part of that association that I know of live on Fairfield Beach Road. They live on it's the Old Dam Road Association. Now maybe they let other people in, I don't know, but
yeah,
that's who owns
or yeah, and then if in Fair Acres, you might live, 4 blocks down the street. You have to walk 4 blocks to get there. So, I mean, it's like 6 of one, half a dozen of the other.
I'm sorry, Helene, I just lost my data. Can you repeat the appeal number again?
61.
Thank you.
This is Paulette. I have a question. We're valuing those properties, whether it's 1701 or Helene's appeal. We're valuing them like they're privately owned properties, but they're not. So their value, if I owned a strip of land there, it would be different than owning it in common, like in a condo. These properties are owned in common. Therefore, I think their value should be less. And just saying, okay, well, it's in FB this or FB that, which to me is all BS, by the way. And then, we have, it's common property. They
Yeah, no,
can't.
that makes a good point. As soon as you
no
add,
value for sale.
as soon as you add additional parties to the ownership, it does dilute. I mean, I have seen this in many court cases where they apply a discount factor based on the number of owners of a property, because to try to sell that and gain agreement, they just that's the rule that attorneys use, is they discount the factor based on number of people that own it.
Remember, it only provides a walkway to the water. You can't sit there. It's not
Yeah.
wide. You can't have a party there. You can't,
No.
you just walk to the water and then you have to walk across. Sometimes.
So why don't we use that other benchmark and make a decision?
Well, that's what I think. I mean, I think that these two
That's
are
logical.
very equal in their,
That would be-
where one is more 20,000 valued higher than the other. I would make a case for us matching the other one, 42,100. That's still much higher than where they were before.
Yeah, that's a big jump for a
That's
piece
a
of
big
land to
jump.
walk on.
But actually, aren't we appealing that one too?
No, there's a different one.
Oh, okay.
No, it's not that.
Helene, can you repeat that, please?
What you mean that the other one was 42,100, 42,100?
Yeah.
One.
If you could repeat the stats and the value that one is.
So 1701, although it's less square footage because it's fewer steps to the beach, it's valued at 42,100. 423 is valued at 63,700. That's almost 20,000 more.
And are we able to account for the steps in any way to the beach? Because we can
No.
argue.
We'd have to.
Okay.
I mean,
You know what?
silly.
Here's my issue too. That FB1 or whatever it is, we're saying that's more valuable. Says who? And by the way, how could a strip of land to walk on be more valuable?
Yeah, no, I don't buy that. I don't
buy that either.
We'll buy that.
And then
I mean-
keep in mind that the appraised value in 2019 was 16,900. So, it's gone up significantly.
Right, just, talking about that old dam path, all right? I mean, I had that last year, and, there were real estate advertisements for that property or properties over on Old Dam that highlighted the fact that they had beach access from Old Dam. So similarly, you're going to tell me that realtors aren't telling prospective buyers that, oh, listen, you've got beach access here through this, and whatever the legal ownership of it is, right? I mean, it must be. So I just think, I mean, you can't tell me it doesn't have a value that you're selling as a realtor to people.
No, I don't think we're saying that. Because the appellant wanted to go to 0, and we do think it has value. Absolutely. The question is it valued 20,000 more than the other path to the beach?
Yeah, well, listen, the appellant didn't make any case for 0, so why are we continuing? You can bring it back next year with some, some actual evidence. That's their job, is to provide evidence to support their case. He said 0. There's no evidence for 0.
Well, Helene or one of us can make a motion for a grant in part.
Yeah, I mean, my gut thinks it should even be lower, but I think at the very least, I'd like to make a motion that we grant this appeal in part to 42,100, which is what the 1701 is.
So you're saying even though it's over, because there's more steps to the beach, you're counting it back. Is that, I'm just trying to get your methodology here.
Well, I'm saying, I think it's I think that's a negligible fact. If you just look at what it is, a 5-foot
Yeah.
wide path to the beach,
Yeah.
where I don't see where the Fair Acres path is $20,000 more valuable than
Yeah.
than
Okay.
1701.
Okay.
Okay.
I second that motion.
Okay, all in favor of granting in part to, what was the number? 42,000, what did you say, Helene? 42,100?
42,100. Let me just double check that. I
Okay.
wrote, but I just want to, 42,100.
Okay, all those in favor, please raise your hand. Okay, it looks like myself, Paulette, Carol, Helene, and Judy are in favor. Peter's opposed, and I can't see Kathleen's hand. Kathleen?
No, she just raised her hand. She's a
Yeah, he didn't make his case. I'm opposed.
Okay, that's fine. The motion's carried 4-2 with Kathleen and Peter opposed. Next,
Okay, I make a motion to hear and appeal number 30. The appellant is Joan Casanova, and her address is 29 Forest Avenue. The town has her appraised at 820,700, and she's requesting to go to 699 even.
Which appeal number is that?
30. Let me just pull that up here. Okay.
29 Forest, is that what you said?
Yes.
Okay,
So
so
29
700 from 820. Okay.
Yeah, 29, just got some notes here, but 29 Forest is at the top of the street. It's a B zone, and at one point this was a tear down and a new build. And it is on a street of mostly 2 families, small capes, a lot of rentals.
They're all rentals.
Yeah, it's like mostly rentals.
It's right down the street from me. All rentals.
She backs up to duplexes on Reef Road as well that are students. And just to give you an idea of the type of street. She's definitely the nicest house on the street. She gives 4 comps in the valuation period. She brought those back, and I did have those scanned in. One is so hers was built in 2008. And honestly, it's like that 2008 build, when those houses were built, they were kind of like, it's not a real wide lot. So that was, as she says in her comments, her floor plan is, functional obsolescence. I mean, she doesn't have a sight view of other rooms in the house. It's a very choppy, smaller floor plan. It shows comps that were built in the early 2000s, 2006, 2001, etc. The first one is on Narrow Street, and that is number 15 Narrow. Similar in size. That appraised value is 650, 600, and that closed for 750 in 2020. The current appraised value is 650, 600. Let's see, the next one is Hurd Street. And that closed for $775. I actually thought this was a good one. This was completely, I don't know if any of you guys saw this. Kate Cacciatore had this.
Yes, I saw it.
Yeah, I saw it too. 2006, and this it sold for $775. The appraised value is $752,100, and that closed in 2019.
These are ones where we've got good sale comps, so
Yeah, yeah.
I had a
2009.
conversation with Paulette earlier. I'm more inclined to look at the sales.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
we have good sold comps.
Yep. So even if you took the sold comps on all sold prices on all of these, as opposed to the appraised, because some of the appraised values are lower, actually some are higher, some of them are lower. But if you just took the sold prices during the valuation period and the average of these four, that comes out to $751,250. She's asking you to go to $699. I think that's on the, kind of the low side there, but I think with these prices, $775, $705, $775, $750. I think $750 is a fair number. All of these comps I think are good.
Yeah, I think they are too. Alden, her, yeah, they're good.
The same, around the same period in the beach area.
Yeah.
And her street is crap.
Yeah. I just, when there's, I had this conversation with Paulette earlier today, because I have another one coming up where, sometimes they look at, well, my house is appraised at this crazy number, but everybody else is appraised at a lower number, but they have a ton of sold comps.
Yeah.
So we almost have to wait the sold comps in 2020 more so than, like, we can't even really look at that appraised data. So
right.
I'm more inclined to agree with, if you're willing to do with it in part, I don't think $699. I mean, looking at the comps, I think $750 is a good number. I'm good with that.
Yeah, that was my takeaway after.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anybody else have any comments?
I mean, this is my neighborhood. I know it well. I think that's a good number.
Since there's no other comments, I guess we can vote. Finally.
All right, so
I think you can,
Wait,
someone needs,
yeah, you have to make the motion to amend it first.
yeah.
That's-
But are there any other comments?
Mhm.
No. All right, so I make a motion to grant appeal number 30 in part to $750,000.
I'll second. Okay. All those in favor of granting in part to a value of $750,000, please raise your hand. Okay.
Unanimous.
Unanimous. Okay, great. All right. The motion carries unanimously. Elaine, keep going.
All right. Let's turn on a light so I can see what I'm doing. All right. I make a motion to hear appeal and grant appeal number 36. The appellant is John and Courtney Petty, and the address is 108 Senate Lane. The town has them appraised at $3,338,800, and they're requesting to go to $2,400,000.
So is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay.
All right, so this was the hearing was with John Fallon, and let me just pull up this appraisal. We talked on the phone. Let me just pull it up. I'm trying to get it so small. I'm trying to get it a little bit bigger. Okay, so there were two comps. Actually, three comps, but I'm looking for the sale date just to be clear.
He's got
Yeah.
Fence
Okay,
Row,
so-
which is the ridge, Golden Pond,
Yep.
which isn't the
Golden-
ridge, and
yep.
another one on Senate.
Yeah, that was a little bit later in the, so 5/3/21 on that one, but so the one in 5/23/21, even though it was on Senate, he has that at 2,204,800,000. The other two, which are similar comps, appraised at 2 million, or in his appraisal, 2,691,500 and 2,132,500. Let me just see. Just you want to pull up those comps in your MLS and take a look
Yeah.
at them?
I'm looking.
Yeah.
It's funny, Two Fence Row is my, one of my appellants. But
Oh.
Golden Pond is like perfect, and Senate Lane is perfect.
Yeah. And I don't know about you, but those houses on Senate Lane are just like, whew, they're so outdated right
Over
now.
the top outdated.
Oh, I mean, remember when those were built? Those were like, whoo, those were
Talk about the law of diminishing returns.
Yeah, really
and lots of
outdated.
marble and
So what is this? I'm looking at what is it? 224? What's his number?
2, 4. Yes.
Mhm.
Let me just pull this up. Two Fence
I just
Row.
have a question. John Fallon is an attorney. Is he also an
Yeah.
appraiser?
No,
No. You know what? I was looking for, I thought I had it. The cover of this appraisal. I thought it was in here, but it's not. I don't know who did this.
Larry Kelly. It's on the
Kelly.
Oh, yeah, okay. Oh, you're right. It's in the back. Yes, you're right.
Oh,
Kelly.
okay.
Um,
Okay. So they had an attorney represent them, but they also had a separate appraiser.
yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow,
So,
look at the detail of this appraisal.
and
I'm
he,
fine with that appraisal.
yeah,
Good to
and
me.
Wow,
I think
wow.
even Fence Row, I mean, that had a pool, which Senate Lane does not. And honestly, Senate Lane is not what it used to be. I think those are tough sales in there, and it's certainly not worth 3 million. No one's going to pay that for Fence Row. I can tell you that. What's the other one? Golden Pond. I'll look at that one.
interesting street, Golden Pond.
Let's see. There were a few sales in Golden Pond, but this one, this was it in valuation period. Oh yeah, this one had. Oh yeah, this was the McDonald's house. Yeah, oh my God, this one was absolutely stunningly gorgeous with the pool. No, yeah, I mean, this one was completely designed by an interior designer from and the people that bought this, when they bought this, they bought everything in the house that went with it. Everything, all the furniture, the dishes, everything. And that sold for $2,450,000.
I hate when they include all that stuff. It makes it so complicated to evaluate.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well,
But I mean, that was with
Mhm.
with all the furniture, and that was 2,400,000.
yeah.
And I mean, both of those properties have absolutely gorgeous pools. Senate Lane does not have a pool. So, I think just even on this appraisal, and the fact that let me see, what did Senate Lane sell for? Hold on one second. I should have had that in my notes.
1925.
Oh, so even under 2 million. Yeah.
Yep.
Is that the one with all the funky, was that Tara Hawley's? With all the funky artwork? I think it was. Anyway,
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Yes.
yeah, that was an interesting one.
And
Yeah,
that, actually, that one is, in my opinion, that one was much better than the subject property. I think in terms of just classic style and
yeah, it was fabulous. It was hard to
Yeah.
get past the
yeah.
the interior, but yeah.
You guys
awesome.
ready?
I have no
Yeah,
problem
are
with
we-
that one. It's I can't argue it.
All right. Any other comments? All right, so I make a motion to grant the appeal for 108 Senate Lane to the requested value of $2,400,000.
All in favor?
A second it? Anybody
We did
second?
it in the beginning, so I don't think we have to do another one now.
You don't need a motion even. Nope.
Okay. All right, I can only see 4 hands. I don't know why.
It looks unanimous.
Okay, it's unanimous. Okay, great. Motion carries unanimously to reduce the value to the requested amount of $2,400,000. Okay. And that was appeal number 36. Okay, now before we get to Peter, Helene, can you do number 5 tonight?
No, I never heard it. That's
Oh,
Dave.
sorry, I have that wrong. I forgot to change it on my schedule. I'm sorry. Yep, that's Katie's for Wednesday. Okay, no problem. Okay, so let's go on with Peter. Peter, I think you're scheduled for appeal number 33. Or is that the one that's commercial?
Right. So this is appeal number 33, 258 Farmstead Hill Road. Vic and Jessica Chowdre. And the town's valued this property at $2,303,600, and the appellant is asking for a reduction to $1,200,000. That's a different number than was on the original request. This appellant says that he bought this in a foreclosure. It's in the Greenfield Hill neighborhood. He says it was on the market for 721 days. The fair market value at that time, he said it was 2.1. He said a lot of work had to be done. There was some roof damage, interior damage. There's a swimming pool, but he says it's in disarray. Things like the gutters were stolen. Condenser unit ripped out.
I got stories on this house.
Uh-huh.
So, thinks that the layout is, antiquated. So he gave some comps. One was Paddock Hill Lane. All right, that was, and that one was sold in.
What number, Paddock?
125 Paddock Hill Lane. And that one was sold in at 11/12/20 for $650K. Then he's got another one that 180 Morning Dew Circle. This one was sold 8/19/20.
That's in the Ridge.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It was between Sturgis and Merlin.
yep, it's in the Ridge.
So that was an unqualified sale at 1.1 million 250,000.
I know who owns that house. I still don't understand what this unqualified means, but whatever.
I don't
Well,
either.
maybe that's something that we need to mention going forward, that, somehow that needs to be,
It's a fine house. It had
good.
a bunch of wetlands, so it
Yeah.
had issues selling. That's
Yeah.
all.
This
Okay.
is not to change, stop, but I do have the list of what all the unqualified sales codes mean. I just got it today, and it explains them all. So on the field card, there's actually a column with a number in it. So if you look at the number, there's a chart from OPM that says what the number means, because they have to certify real estate sales with OPM, and so I can forward you all that list if that's helpful. If you know what the number is on that one, is it a 25 or a 2, or there's a number next to the Q on the field card. So anyway, I just want to tell you, I have that, so we can always look at that.
Why didn't you forward it earlier when you received it? We could have all benefited from having that earlier.
Yeah, because I got it at 5 minutes of 5 when I got home from work. I just opened it and saw it and printed it out, but I can forward it to you.
Yeah,
I'm
that'd
happy
be good.
to do that.
That'd be great if you could
I'll
do
send
that.
Great, thank you.
I'll
Thank
send it right now if you want. Yep, if we open my email.
Yeah, so, all right, so 70 Burwood Commons, it's another comp. This is, was sold outside the period, a little outside the period, 6/17/2019. This one, kind of backs up to the Parkway, so it does have, you know, condition for the Parkway and an easement. And then it also gave me 88 Merry Meat Circle.
That's the ridge.
Okay, yeah.
Yep.
Again, that one sold 325.20 for 13.3, and
For 13.3?
well, 1,330,000. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, no, we knew what he meant.
I did, I did.
Um,
And then
I
gold.
think these are kind of good comps. I mean,
Yeah.
and
Paddock Hill,
but like the Ridge is a better, it's got more amenities than Farmstead Hill. I mean,
So, and then he also had Golden Pond Lane as a.
oh, that's where, yeah.
Right. So that was 131/2020. That was 111 Golden Pond Hill or Pond Lane. And that was 1,350,000. Listen, I'm just concerned that I mean, the gentleman says there's a lot of, there was a lot of work, but again, like I don't see any kind of, and he's living there. I don't see any permits that were pulled, and he didn't provide any kind of estimates for work. He's claiming that the work is anywhere between $700,000 and $800,000 to bring this home up to respectable again, I guess. I don't know what the words I'm looking for.
Peter,
But,
what did he pay for it, and what time frame
well,
again?
yeah, he said he paid, let me just,
he paid $861.
yeah,
In September of 19.
Yeah, okay.
Good one.
This was lived in by family members and mutual drug dealers. I'm not kidding you. I lived around the corner on Old Academy Road, and it was a whole ordeal. I don't know what happened to the parents. I really don't. It was just the talk of the town was that this home was in disrepair for many, many, many years. And there was a lot of drug deals and parties going on in that home. And
Yeah.
I used to they used to speed down my street on Old Academy going like friggin' 60 and 70 miles an hour. And because I had little kids, I would like trail the sound of the music. And I found that it would end at that house. And I like snooped around. It was a bad scene. The house is a piece of crap. So, I mean, the fact that he's showing me comps in the 1-4 number, that looks good to me. I don't know why it's unqualified. I don't know what that means to me.
It was bank owned.
Because it was bank owned, it's already automatically flagged.
Okay, well, 1-4 is, I'm pretty impressed, to be honest. It is piece of
Yeah,
crap.
I mean, the fact that he paid, $861 for it. And I remember this house had tarps on the inside because
Oh, the
water
roof.
from the roof, and the
Oh,
were all damaged. There were parts of the staircase that were roped off. You couldn't go
Yep.
because they like with that yellow tape, do not enter. Because
yeah, like crime scene.
But
Yeah.
it wasn't. And the best
Excuse
part of the
me,
whole
this
house-
is Kathy. Peter, I think, said that the ask was changed to 1.2 at the hearing.
Okay,
So the motion is on the table at 1.2.
okay.
that's wreally generous.
Were you guys in that? I was in that house. The best part of the house, the best part was that section where they had to wash the dog. That was clean. Wow.
I wouldn't even pay close to $1 million for this
Yeah,
house.
me
It
neither.
was
It was-
I looked at it and it's horrendous. I don't know what they're doing.
I had
with it.
somebody that was,
Listen, and I appreciate that, but I mean, again, the appellant hasn't, provided any, he didn't provide any pictures, he didn't provide, like I said, there was no evidence.
But we know it's
They're
okay.
looking
We
at the picture.
know.
he provided
His
comps.
comps are good. His comps are good. They're actually impressive.
And the photos of his house are right there online. We can see them. And we're telling you, it was bad. Firsthand knowledge. It was bad.
I mean, his comps are proof. I mean, I'd say Burwood Common. Okay, all right, it's got
I'm
minor
really sorry.
noise.
I'm really sorry that Katie's not here because I took her in there. They needed a big house. I'm sorry she's not here for this one. Yeah.
Oh my God.
It was awful.
I wanted that house to be burnt down. Peter, what's your position?
Yeah, what do you think, Peter?
Yeah, well, I mean, I was thinking it should have been, I mean, I was just taking the, what he said, 800,000 to rehabilitate it. I mean, I think he's already done work. I mean, he is living there. I think, taking the 800,000 off of the appraised value would bring him to, a reasonable place,
Which would be what?
like 1.5.
No, I mean, what? Oh, no. I mean, 111 Golden Pond is one of his comps. And what's that appraised for? I mean, that was in much better. A lot of his comps were in much better condition.
It'd have to be in much better condition.
Nothing could be as bad as
It'd be
that.
quite like that. That was a one of a kind.
No, I think he's got solds, not what it's appraised for. He's got solds, which are better.
Yeah. Yeah, well, one Golden Pond sold for $1,350,000, and that was, I think that was, I want to say that was Vicky's. Is that Vicky's listing? Let me just look here. But no, that was Cindy Rainey's. Remember that? That was that closed in.
I know that one actually. You know why? Because I lost to the CMA. I lost that listing, so I know it well.
Yeah, and that house had been a rental for a while, and then somebody bought it, came in, and basically flipped it because they just completely cleaned up that whole property.
Well,
Oh,
she
did John Wellner
didn't
build
flip
that?
it. There's a story behind that. That dude, the doctor is in jail. That poor woman sold it in a distress.
Only living outside.
All right, but that sold for 135, and that was in beautiful condition.
It was in beautiful condition, but it was distress. It was the court, needed to sell it. I think 1.2 is legit. We've got Morning Dew at 1.2, which is the Ridge. We've got a Burwood Common, which is a much nicer house, although it is on the Barrett. Much nicer. You don't need to do anything to that house.
No,
Merry Meat.
That
which
was
is
in
another
condition.
Ridge with all the amenities at 1.3. I mean, I don't know. I'm good.
Well,
with
all
1.2.
of them are move-in conditions, so.
I
we're
would have
talking
said
about, you know,
900.
I mean, I think 1-2 is, we're
I'd take
lucky,
it all day.
yeah.
I don't see how
Kathy,
1.5, Peter. I mean, I
Yeah,
don't,
but
I have a hard time with 1.5. Higher than all the comps.
Right.
You
Yeah, the
can't
pool
just look
value
at a price and then take the amount it's gonna cost to fix it and then figure out your own opinion of value. It doesn't work that way. And
No,
especially since he bought it and then all of that money's put into it, you have 800. You can't do it that way. Although it's a good start, it's not the absolute foolproof way to value it. The comps that are provided they're very good in my opinion. I'm okay with 1.2.
Is that first comp a
Where-
tear down? It's 650, that first comp on his list? The 125 Paddock Hill, is that a tear down? His first sale is 125 Paddock Hill Lane, 11,000 square feet.
Let me find it. Okay. I don't know. There's one up there that sold for really low, and I don't remember why. I don't know if it was the layout, the condition. I can't remember. But it doesn't matter because he's got several others that certainly prove that the value that the town gave him is way too high, in my opinion.
Yeah, 125 Paddock Hill was on the market in 2018 for 145, and then it did sell in 2020 for 650. And actually, even though that house had that weird indoor pool and, you know, and was dated in terms of its, you know, its architecture and whatnot and needed work, it still was in much better condition than the subject property.
Tell me again, why did he list his sale price as 861? Is that what the field card doesn't show that? Is that?
861, yeah, 861,000.
But that's not on his card. Why does it? I don't see that on the card, the sale price of 861. All right, if you look at the field card, it shows sale of $1.7 million in 2016. And then an unqualified, you know, a transfer or whatever, Castlemore Real Estate. Actually, that's an old card. The new card's in the bottom, is at the base, it's at the bottom of the appeal. I think Ross has added all the field cards, you know, the updated field card last in the backup. So the most recent field card, yeah, dated 3/21 is in the backup. It's strip and re-roof for 125,000, permit pulled in September. That's what I see. And then it's something about
September what year?
September. Yeah. He did the roof, but that's the only permit I see on there. The pool's an old permit, but it doesn't show the sale at 891. It just shows $1.7 million in 2016.
Oh, I'm
Look
looking
it up on MLS, somebody.
It's on MLS, 258 Farmstead Hill. It closed in 9/6/2019 for 861. It was on the market for 150 days. That time.
Yeah, no,
Yes.
go to the property history.
And, oh yeah, and it goes. I mean, it was on total for 721 days. Started at $1 million.
Buy it, or that's the bank's price in 19. That's what the bank paid.
That's
It's just weird. The field card shows $0 into Castlemore Real Estate LLC, 9/5/2019 for $0.
They don't show you sometimes.
No.
The
Why
bank
would
will-
you do it for zero? It should be one anyway.
Wondering what's going on. That's all. Because I don't see that I don't see that number.
Okay, but we just told you it's on for 861, right? Joanne, did you check that?
Yeah, I'm looking at it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm looking at it too. I mean, we can go over the whole, this is why it's like, I swear, forget WebEx. We should be using Zoom so that I could just share this, our screen with
Yeah.
everybody.
I know.
Share.
It came on a new listing at 1.3, then it went down to, back in 2017, 1.2, 1.2.25, 1.19, 1.1, now I'm at 2018, 9.25. 2019, it was 9.25, and it closed 8 months later. It went on in February of 2019 at 9.25, and it closed at 8.61.
And that was in 2021, it closed for the 861?
It closed in September of 2019.
And it fell apart 4 times before.
Yeah, good point. Yep.
Had numerous buyers who backed out.
And I'm sure it fell apart because it was a disaster. I'm telling you, it was a party house with a bunch of dregs living there.
I told you, I went in it. And I was like, I wouldn't even go parts of the house. It was unsafe to go into. There was mold in there. It was just not good.
Yeah, well, it was a hole in the roof.
That's why. Okay, so I think everybody's probably, stated what they thought. Peter,
Okay, this is Kathy. Paulette, did you second this appeal?
I
Just for
did,
the record? Okay.
yeah, first brought it up, so.
And also, it looks like all participants can share with the
Oh,
I know.
control sequence.
Oh, I see it. It's down on the bottom.
Oh, well, that's if you're, yeah, I'm on my phone and then I'm on my computer separately. So I'd have to go on. I'd have to log on a different way in order to share.
And I know never mind, it's not your appeal. So Peter, I'm trying to look at the thing quickly, but you might know the answer to this already, so I'll ask you. We know what he's asking for. Did he say anywhere what he paid for it, or that never even came up?
No, he said,
What?
he gave the 861 value.
Okay, so the man stated under oath that he paid 861. He's asking for a value much higher than that. I see no reason not to believe that he paid 861, being under oath. So that's just my thought. That's just my feeling about the 861. He asked for something.
I would never question what it is.
Yeah. So what do you think, Peter? It's up to you. I mean, what are we? Does anybody?
Yeah. Well, listen. I mean, the motion on the floor is for his value of 1,200. I mean, I'm for the reasons that I already given, I think I'm going to pass on it. But we can go ahead and vote. Right.
All right. Is everybody ready?
When you say 1,200, you mean 1,200,000?
I'm sorry. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. 1,200,000. Yeah.
I'm comfortable voting with that number, given that he paid 861.
Okay. All those in favor of granting the appeal, the appeal that was requested, not the one that's on the sheet, at $1.2 million, please raise your hand. And I can't see anybody right now. There's something wrong with my phone, so somebody's gonna have to tell me what the vote is.
Carol, yes.
I'm voting yes.
Okay, so everybody is voting yes, and Peter, you're not. Your hand is no. You're voting no. Okay.
Okay. So the motion carries to grant the appeal to $1.2 million, 5-1, with Peter opposing. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right. That's it for now. It is 10 after 7. Time for a 15-minute break.
All right, we'll be back.
Be back at.
Am I up next?
No, I think Peter's up next still.
Okay.
You're not on tonight. Well, Judy's last.
I think all the bank codes. You got those. You've got the foreclosure codes or whatever, the unqualified codes. I just sent it.
Thank you.
It would be appropriate to adjust that.
Okay, I'm gonna pause the recording for 15 minutes.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay,
Okay, I started it.
Peter, you're next. You're up again, rather. With appeal number 40, I believe.
Appeal number 40. It's 178 Jackman Avenue, Brendan Brown and Jenna Stern. And the town valued this property $145,400. and the appellants are requesting a value of $735,000. Let's see, what did they came in just, saying that, based on the comps they provided, they felt like their value was too much. So 6 Stoneleigh Square was one of their comps. Actually, this property itself, I'll just tell you this property itself.
Excuse me, so Paulette, did you second?
Oh, I'm sorry. I second, Peter. My mistake. Please continue.
Sorry, Peter.
All right, so this it's almost an acre of land, just short of an acre, 3,236 square feet. It does appear to have some kind of condition adjustment for topography. I'm not really sure.
Right next to the firehouse.
No, it's going up the hill, so I think it's probably, as you work your way up towards Park Avenue
Okay.
on the left-hand side.
Yeah, it's before Fairmount Terrace.
This house has a shared driveway too, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's correct. It does. So anyway, so 6 Stoneleigh Square. All right, they gave this as a comp. This sold in 10/5/20 for $710. And it had some looks like it had some remodeling done in September of 20. So I'm assuming that's before it was sold, right? And that also has some kind of topography condition, a larger as a 10% on there. This one is 3 beds, 2 baths, two full baths, 1 half bath. The subject property is 5 beds, 2.5 baths. All right. Then 12 Rolling Ridge Road. That's off of Black Rock Turnpike. That one sold 10/16/20 for $814,125. That's just a little larger if that's on an acre of land. 4 beds, 3.5 bath, and smaller square footage there. Also does have a pool, in-ground vinyl pool. 90 Webb Road, which is off of Brooklawn, off of Algonquin, or up in Brooklawn, off of Algonquin there. So that sold. Well, that was outside of the time. That sold 2/19/21, so not far out, right? For $675. It's saying that's much smaller acreage and a little larger square footage there. And then finally, the last comp was 760 Galloping Hill, right? That's Greenfield Hill.
No, that's not a good comp.
Yeah, that didn't really seem like a great
That's not
comp.
great. Phil.
There is
No.
something that I want to point out. Peter, you mentioned about their permits, and I see a permit from 9/11/2020, and I see another one from 12/7/2020. So the 9/11, they were going to remodel the kitchen. However, just because they took out the permit doesn't mean that it was done. As a matter of fact, if you look at the notes, the kitchen remodel wasn't done until 2021. So we should not be penalizing them because they took out a permit. Because the work wasn't done. You can have a permit and then not do it. And, it's pretty obvious now we are in 2021, and that's January 12th of 21. So let's make sure that we don't penalize them for that.
Say 21? Where does it say that? I thought it said 20.
No, that's when they took out the permit. So just because you take out a permit doesn't mean that everything is done. It is not. It's not done until there's a note on the field card and it's been revalued or whatever, which happened in January 12th of 21. Look, just above where the building permit record is.
Card, yep, okay.
Okay, so that's just really important. I want to point it out.
Mm-hmm.
This is Kathleen. The work is done though, right? You see that. It's 100% complete.
Yeah, but
In
it wasn't
January.
complete as of October 1, 2020.
Right, but it was October 1, 2020, 2021. So depending upon whether you think we're valuing as of October 1, 2021 of, you know, what the work's done, or whether we're keeping, you're only looking at what it looked like in October 2020, you can include the kitchen or not. So that's right, and the electrical work.
I'm not agreeing with that because it's only a
I
permit
know.
now.
I'm saying for those people who are viewing it as of October 1, 2021 is what you're supposed to be looking at. The kitchen was complete at that point in time because right, the inspection date was 1/12/2021, and the work was complete. So there was
Yeah, but-
all of the kitchen.
Looking at 10/1/19 to 10/1/20, and I mean, they even pulled the permit after the valuation period.
Yeah,
And
but
the work,
really sales in that period. We look at sales in that window, not the value of the property in that window.
But
We're
if we-
looking at sales.
We're not going to have the
No.
right.
no, we are looking at the value of that.
If we
Which
look at
Yeah, as of October 1, 2021, the value of the home, but we're looking at sales in that period. We're not looking at that house in that period. We're looking at sales in that period. And comparing the house
And in
to
past,
sales.
could have allowed other appellants to, you know, if the year after the valuation period produced higher selling prices, we should have allowed them to do that as well. So, and we never have allowed that. We've
I'm going, but my mind is based on what the information we gave to our appellants to use.
I agree. If that's what we do,
Absolutely.
them,
I
Then
don't
that-
want to get my butt sued.
right? That's what we.
No,
That's
we get-
that's what's on the website. That's what we go by because that's what they're going.
The website says sales. Go and look at sales from October 1, 2019 to October 1, 2020. And you could look at sales beyond that you're looking for the sale price. That's what the website says. It doesn't say value your own home in the condition it was in 2020. It's telling you to look at sales in 2020 to come up with the market value of your property now if it was on the market in 2020.
That's
Yeah,
not.
I'm pretty sure. Go back and read it, but we don't tell them.
If
your
it's-
house was
They
in
don't
back
understand
in-
that.
If it says that, then there's a discrepancy between that and on the Board of Assessment Appeals website, it talks about, you know, helpful hints or something like that. I have to find the section, but it shows you on a little block, the base period is 19 to 20. And then from 20 to 21, those might have some weight. I forget the wording, but it indicates that that is not part of what we're looking at. We might use that. It might have some weight. And if people look at that, because that's where they go to look for, how do I do this? Then it shouldn't be there. It should say clearly, you know, we're looking at, it's now 2021. And so we have to look at what the value is now. So bring me comps for that. Don't bring me comps in 20 because it won't match up. But it doesn't say that. So if there's a discrepancy on the website, then I'm going to err on the side of caution and go with what the directions are for the appellate on the BAA website. And if it's wrong, it shouldn't be there. We're not responsible for that. We don't post it. The town does. So it's their issue, not mine.
Peter, this was yours. You've done the most research. What's your opinion?
Yeah, but just some other things about the subject property, right? That you know, I mean, looking at the pictures, I mean, all the comps seem to be a different style home than the subject property, right? They all seem to be some kind of, I mean, I don't know, those ranches, you know, that's I don't know what you call those. And then also there is a tennis court there, you know, which, you know, the town has that valued at 18.5. There's a finished attic, which, you know, adds another 17,000 to the appraisal. And some kind of loft that adds another 30, over $3,500 to the appraisal. So, those are just, I mean, to me, the condition and the, this style of house seems to be of higher quality than the other.
Is this a colonial? When you say style house, it's a colonial, right?
Yeah,
Oh,
well, I mean, it appears to
And
be
you're
colonial,
saying
but
you're
again,
comparing it to the comps, which are different from a colonial?
yeah, they appear to be different to, and,
Well, a ranch is valued less than a colonial. One of the comps was a cape, that would be valued less. On
Shore
stone,
Cape,
I have something really important to share with everybody.
okay,
I just went on the BAA website.
yes.
And I would like to read what all the appellants have seen. Okay, this is under helpful hints for real estate appeals.
Judy,
Just read it. Bear with me if you don't see my face, okay?
Okay, go ahead.
And this is on the BAA website. And number 2, understand the base period. It's important to understand the base period that applies to your valuation appeal. Connecticut law requires all cities and towns to conduct a revaluation of all real property every 5 years. The time period used during the revaluation is the 12 months preceding the date of the revaluation. This time period is known as the base period or the data gathering period. While sales after the end of the base period may be considered, they are often given secondary weight. In Fairfield, the last valuation of all real property was conducted on 10/1/20. Therefore, here's the important part. Therefore, the base period from which comparable sales will be considered is 10/1 to 10/19, 10/1/19 to 10/1/20. If you have questions about the specific base period that applies to your appeal, you should contact the Fairfield Assessor's Office. Does that clarify anything for everybody?
Clarifies it for me. That's what I thought.
Clarifies it for me. That's what the taxpayers have.
Mhm.
So there's no question, I'm not doing anything about what happened in 2021. I'm going from 10/19, 10/1/19 to 10/1/20, and that's that. It's right here. I'm not changing it. Especially not midstream.
Good point. Okay. Now that that's settled, let's move on to what people are talking about. Or Carol was speaking. Whoever was speaking.
no, I was just looking at his comps, because I want to see, in what Peter was referring to as the homes being particularly different. My personal opinion is that ranches are valued less than a colonial. So they've provided, comp number 1 was a ranch, comp number 2 is a rolling ridge. It also is a ranch.
Ranch, yeah.
All right, we get to comp number 3. Scrolling down here, let's see.
That's a cape.
That is okay, that's a cape, less value.
Yeah.
Colonial is the gold standard, right? It doesn't get better than the colonial. So, and then the last one we kind of also agreed was discounted because it was, where was it? It was like Galloping Hill. No.
Yeah.
So that's fine because 3 is what an appraiser uses. So I would
This
discount
Kathleen,
Mhm.
yeah, I looked up some comps that I thought would be better comps that are colonials in, because this is neighborhood 86, which is Stratfield. So all those comps aren't even in the Stratfield land value area, right? They're in neighborhood 75, 80, 2 of them are in 75 and one's in 85. So like 157 Toilsome Hill Road, which is around the corner, sold for $845 on November 16th of 2020. It's a 1940s colonial, 3,600 square feet. And it doesn't have that separate, the subject property has a separate garage. That's what that FTR4 is. If you look on the GIS, they've got a separate structure in the back of their property. That's probably that piece that's valued at, what was it, Peter, 30,000 or something? That's that garage. Or 219.
Peter, what's the square footage? What's the square? I'm listening to you, Kathleen. What's the square footage of our subject?
3228.
Okay, so 3228. Okay, and you're saying Toilsome
157 Toilsome, and don't forget, this property has the tennis court with a value of, so the town's at least assigned value to their tennis court of, what was it, 18? Where's the tennis court? The tennis court's valued at 18,000, and then that separate garage with the loft on top is valued at 35,000, and then they have a generator valued at 10. So if you look on their card, up at the top, they have, all those extras that are valued as, residential outbuildings of value of 54,000. So that adds another $54,000 to their appraised value. And
And forget about the generator because that was installed in 21, so it wasn't there in 20. Okay?
Okay,
So
so we
forget
take
about the
the
generator.
Toilsome?
And
Can we please, let's talk about comps that are in 2020, if we're even gonna like give this guy a shot, because he hasn't supplied us with.
Let me just say one thing about the Toilsome Hill Road comp. I understand that it's in Strathfield, so I can see why you picked it, Kathleen. However, Toilsome Hill Road is a special road.
It's the
not
gold,
like-
it's the, what do you call it? The gold,
Well,
That's
it's,
the best.
it's like Harbor Road of Southport.
yeah,
Yeah.
Toilsome Hill is in its own category as opposed to
Yes.
Stratfield.
It's
That's its own
extremely
class.
prestigious.
That's its own,
Right.
yeah, that's its own class of street. That you can't compare that to Jackman. When
The
you
gold
consider-
standard, it's the gold rush of Stratfield.
Consider
all
Jackman a firehouse and a public park that is used not only by Fairfield residents, but by residents from our neighboring town that sneak in. So it's not the prestigious private way that Toilsome Hill is.
All right.
This is Kathleen. I would have said they should have used some colonial comps that were close to them and then adjusted them down. I don't think they should have gone looking for ranches and capes that are not in their area of town. And so if Toilsome Hill is a nicer street than this is on an acre of property, so they have a lot of privacy and stuff as well. It's a big, it's 0.96. It's an acre of property. So there's one on Shirley Place that sold for, $820, and Shirley Place is probably not Toilsome Hill, and that was 3,100 square feet. So I just don't think they proved their case. That's all.
Okay,
and neighborhood adjustment on some of these other comps.
I'm not disagreeing with that, but again, I hate to say it, but Shirley Place is its own little special street. It's a little cul-de-sac that just has like these all custom built houses. It was very prestigious in its day, and it still holds more prestige than Jackman Avenue does. It's not a couple street, it's its own, all custom built, nice properties. You can't go by that. Now, should they have used better colonials in their area? I'm not arguing that they shouldn't have, but this is why we shouldn't go trolling for comps that don't, and by the way, I disagree with the fact that they should have used colonials and then adjusted them down. You people don't want to believe the appraiser when he adjusts down. Would you believe the homeowner? I wouldn't. What do they know about it? You can't.
Okay.
Well,
How about if we just look at Jackman? How about if we just go on MLS and Google Jackman?
well, I feel bad that this appellant wasn't told, like none of these comps are good. You've got to come up with
Yeah.
some
I
other
would have
colonial.
kicked it back, but that's
not-
okay.
That's not our job. That's their job to do
Well,
that.
no,
That's not our to go trying to help
Right.
them find good comps. Or they can ask the assessor for that help. They just need to come and bring their case, and we have to decide, did they make their, are they aggrieved, and did they prove their case? And if they didn't approve their case, they can come back next year and bring us better comps and say why they're not, why they're supposed to be at 735. But I don't think bringing some ranches that are not even close to where their house is proves their case. I just don't.
You know what?
Well,
I
I'm
agree
looking,
with you, and I think that if I had met with this guy, I would have told him none of these are good comps. You've got to
Come
meet
back.
a realtor
Yeah.
and a appraiser, and you've got to come up with some other colonial comps. I agree.
yeah, I'm looking at a colonial comp. I just Googled, I put in the MLS criteria Jackman, and I see and I went to the highest. So the highest sold is a $800,000 property that sold in March of 2021. So not far off of October. 126 Jackman. It is a colonial that is almost 2,500 square feet.
But again, you're searching these comps. for him. He didn't give us any. I hate to say it, but he didn't.
Yeah, I mean,
And
I
they-
agree with that, but a lot of mine, I have done some homework for them in their benefit to help them. I mean, I just have.
You know, there were plenty of comps here for him to, you know, if you're talking about Toilsome Hill Road, there were even
Yeah,
nicer houses on Toilsome Hill Road
Okay.
because they, you know, that sold in the valuation period in the 700s that he's asking for.
Are we ready to vote, do you think?
Peter? Peter?
yeah,
Sure.
Peter, it's yours.
I mean, so, all in favor of the appellant's requested value of 735,000? Raise your hand.
I see no hands up. I don't know if there are any others that I can't see. Is it unanimous?
I don't know if anybody's abstaining, but I don't think I don't see anybody voting yes, other than you. Yeah.
No, I'm not voting
Paula,
yes.
I don't.
Fixing my hat. I'm not voting yes. Okay, so it seems that it's unanimous to deny the appeal. Is that correct?
Does anybody want to make an amendment?
I don't have if I had
voting.
more time, I would make an amendment because that I feel is my obligation, but I don't have the time, so it's not my case.
Okay, so we'll have to say then, based on what I'm seeing here, is that the motion fails unanimously.
Yeah.
Okay, the appeal's denied. All right, that one's done.
Peter, just I'm curious, when you met with him, did you ask him if he could bring back any better comps that were more suited to this appeal?
I mean, no, I did not do that. I mean, they just gave me these comps. I mean, I didn't have a chance to examine those comps until afterwards. So.
Okay,
Being here, sorry.
Peter, I think you're next again. With number 11.
Did you
You
postpone?
said 11 was not being heard.
Okay,
I
then
don't even know what 11 is. I didn't hear that.
commercial appeal well over $1 million. So we will not be hearing that one. Okay, that takes us to Judy
Oh,
with number
Okay.
77.
number 77?
Yeah,
Okay. Bear with me a moment. I'm getting all my paperwork.
40 Beechwood.
And I want to pull this up online as well, so give me a moment.
sure.
Thank you in advance, everybody. I'd like to make a motion that we grant appeal number 77. Property owner's name is Michael Karafotis. The property location is at 40 Beechwood Lane, Fairfield, Connecticut, obviously. And the town's value is 782.1. The appellant's opinion of fair market value on 10/1/20 is $700,000. He actually brought some comps. He had a couple of different appeals with the board, and he brought some comps here that I thought were very compelling. So this property is on Beechwood. It is a split.
Can you
And-
share with us where Beechwood is, Judy? Please?
Pardon me?
Can you
Oh,
share
Fairfield
with us?
Woods. You surround Fairfield Woods.
It's
So
off
like
of Godfrey Road, which is off of Morehouse. Morehouse to Godfrey to Beechwood.
Gotcha.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. So this is a split level home. And so a couple of things I just want to talk about a split level first. So we talk about the pecking order of properties. All things being the same as far as square footage and property and interior and exterior amenities on a property. If the same house was a colonial, it would sell for more. The next in line would be a ranch. The next in line would be a cape. After that would be a ranch. Then it would be a raised ranch or a split. It would be a contemporary on the bottom. Everybody
Yes.
agree with that?
Yes.
Okay. So here's his 2,200 square foot split level home. And he brought me two very good comps. Believe it or not, one was sold January 2nd of 2020. This was a Colonial. It was 2,600 square feet. And that closed at 475,000. It's on the same street. Okay, it's a Colonial, and it would sell for more anyway, and it's also a larger home. Okay, so that one, it needed a little bit of work, but not a lot. That one at 475. So take that. That's really important. We also have another split that it was 2,064 square feet. That's number 15 Beechwood Lane. That closed at 549.9 after 132 days on the market. It closed on January 14th, 21. It's 2,064 square feet, technically about 10% smaller than the subject, but it's at 549.9. He's asking for $700,000. That's the only change he's asking, and that's more than based upon these other comps on the same street. It's more than it would suggest. So
wait, are you saying the comps were like 500 and 400?
Yeah, and he's asking for 700 for his value. All right, so
For a
he's
split?
been overtaxed for years, and he just hasn't come in. And he decided to come in because of his other properties. And he took a look at this and he said, "Okay, he also has a slope plot. I think this is a no-brainer, and I'm ready to go. If anybody doesn't have any questions, I'd say let's take it to a vote."
Yeah, I really don't know of any split levels in that value range, to be honest with you, but maybe it's huge.
Right.
That seems incredible.
Because he has a pool, the card shows that he has a pool, a gunite pool valued at $55,000.
Okay.
If you look on his field card, he's got a pool. So that you have to add that in, assuming nobody else has a pool valued at $56,000. You need to add that to whatever, if he didn't tell you he has.
He's still over and above everybody. You know what I mean?
Right.
He's still not in line with everybody else on the street and the comparables that he showed us. So I take it into account. Thank you for bringing that up, Kathleen. But still, that 700 is a very fair request.
And remember, if its value is 788, whatever, from the town, they've already taken that pool into account. Now, if you want to say, well, the other ones are less money, if they don't have a pool, just add $55,000 to those. If you think it'll feel better, if you feel better about it.
Yeah, you're in the sixes, but we
still not going to come up to 7.
whatever.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's still not going to make 7. So that pool really doesn't become.
Asking for? What's
I'm
he
sorry?
asking for, Judy? Is he asking for 7?
Yeah.
He's only asking for 700,000.
Yeah, I'm looking at the cover sheet because he says the neighbor home, 12 Beechwood, same condition, inside, same condition, much larger, bigger, same size slope lot, has lower taxes. I have new siding on mine and my taxes are higher. So he presented comps. In other words, his reason on the front he's not talking about his neighbor now. He's talking about sales.
He's talking
That's
about
semantics. This is his backup. His
I'm reading what
backup speaks for
Mhm.
itself.
Because I think the reason he's different than the neighbor is because he has the pool, right? That's
He
the
already
one next
counted
door.
for the $55,000 pool, and it should be depreciated anyway. So
Yeah, when did that pool go in?
2016.
So that's 5 years or 4 years ago. If we go to October 2020, there should be some
Right.
depreciation. I think that's part of the problem here. They don't depreciate stuff. You just have to remember to go to the town hall and have it done for you, which isn't right. They should be able to do that. But
Well, it also depends if we get technical about pools, which we all know about pools thanks to, the COVID mania. Is it a vinyl pool, which is half the price of a gunite pool, yada, yada, yada.
Well, he's got a gunite.
Okay, so the
He's
two comps,
So 50 is fair, actually. I think that's probably
I think
fair.
he's more than fair.
yeah, the two comps on his street, the two neighbors, 12 Beechwood sold for $475 in January of 2020, and then 15 Beechwood sold for $589 in January of 21, which was like a few
Do you
But we
want
need
to, I mean, do you want to talk about the square footage and just like check
But-
that off?
Yeah, but it was similar. I mean, 12 Beechwood had 2655, which is more square feet. And
Okay,
then 15 had a little less, 2064 square feet. But so, you know, those prices are more in line with what splits are going for up there
Right.
in that 400, 500 range. The fact that he wants to go to 700, it's like, okay, great.
that's a
see-
no-brainer to the town. I say go for it.
The 12 Beechwood resold in 2021 for 870. That same 12
We don't
Beechwood.
care
So was
about
it
2021.
Doesn't matter.
well, but it,
We don't
we
care.
can look
It doesn't matter.
resold
me
for
look.
870. Pointing that out.
Well, thank you, but it doesn't matter.
Wait, number 12?
Evaluation period.
According to the sales sheet, because we tell the appellants they can consider sales in the base period +1, as well as sales prior to the base period, but we hope to get to an October 1, 2020 value. This one is within the base year +1. So I look at things, yeah, it's sold in 8/6/2021. So it is in the base year +1. That same 12 Beechwood resold for 870. So I'm just saying, and maybe it
that's
got
an
off the
unqualified sale.
Yeah, it's a 7, whatever 7 means. You're right.
+1, how about base year plus, 10 months?
Improved, that's what 7 means. Sales of property substantially improved or changed subsequent to the assessment date. So that's why the 8/7, that's why 12 Beechwood is that much higher. When it went from 475 to 870, somebody fixed it up. So the 475 was probably a low sale if they can fix it up and sell it for 870. That's
We're
why what happened.
almost, like not even paying attention to that.
He says that 12 Beechwood, what is in this? It says same condition inside, but much larger. So at the time we're looking at, that condition of that house was the same as his. So 700 seems reasonable. And I'm not willing to go to August of 2021. Now we're talking about a whole year. Few
Yeah,
months, yes, and we can, but we don't have to. There's a difference between must and can.
Yeah. It's almost like we can't find we can't look for reasons in our argument to refute when we have enough sufficient data to grant it.
They're under oath. They provided evidence. It is not our job to refute and argue and find a reason not to.
we're lucky to get 700.
I wouldn't pay 700 there. Nice street, but I wouldn't think it'd be
I
worth
think
it.
he's getting ripped off at 700.
Can we go to a vote?
I'm ready.
Are we gonna need to move forward, right?
Judy,
Did anybody second my motion, by the way?
I did
Sorry.
before.
Thank you.
I don't know if you can see me. I'm still looking at the thing.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. There's my
Can you
hand.
see me, Carol?
I see only
Oh.
two.
Sorry.
Three.
Yeah.
Judy, it's your
No, Kathleen, I'm voting yes.
Kathleen's voting yes. That's 5. Peter?
Thank you.
I'm going to vote no.
Okay. So the motion carries to grant the appellate's opinion of appellant's requested value, let me say it that way, of 700,000 with a vote of 5-1. Peter opposed. Okay, next. 79, excuse me, 79. Judy.
79.
79? Oh, okay.
79. Let me get to that one.
Is that me?
Oh, it's Judy.
Ah,
We'll get to you.
what the hell time is it? It's 8:01. We have an hour.
Yeah, we'll get to you. I have you down today, but if we can start, if you're ready to do one and we have time, you'll do one.
All right, I have one other really quick one, and then I'll forego the last one, and then and then you can go ahead. Okay, how's that? So that way you can have some in, all right? Okay, so this is appeal number 79, and I make a motion to grant appeal number 79. The property owner's name is Andrew Lehman. Property located at 152 Pine Creek Avenue. And the Town's value is at 2,042,000. The appellant's opinion of market value is 1.8. And again, I move that we approve that. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Okay, so, you know, he brought some comparables. He was a very pleasant gentleman, not asking for the world. The latest appraisal value, he felt it was incorrect and out of line with the average appraisal value of the acknowledged comparable appraisals for the relevant time period. Now, here's another appellant who mentioned relevant time period from October 19, October 20. So this house is only 2,810 square feet, and it's significantly smaller than the comparables that he submitted. And I'm not quite, let me just see if I can get the page on it. But he included 1053 Fairfield Beach Road, which closed at the sale price of 1,735, and it was 3,278 square feet. Okay, remember, this guy's house is 2,800 square feet. We have one at 65 Northwood, closed on October 20th. That closed at 1,849, and that was 3,467 square feet. We've got another one on Rowan, closed on October 1. That closed at 1,885, and that was 3,300 square feet. We have two more both on Fairfield, number 551, closed at 1,895 on October 27th of 20, and that was 4,545 square feet. And then the other one at 492 Penfield closed at 1,989 on October 6th. And that one was 4,545 square feet. So here's what he did. The average of those, the average square footage is 3,666 square feet, which is still significantly larger than his 2,810 square feet. And the average price would be 1,870. So his appeal asking for 1.8 based upon those, I think is fair and equitable, and I have I can't have any issue with it.
Judy, where is he on Pine Creek? Just like relative to the
It's on the water.
golf course?
Yeah, he's down below there. Let me get you that. Did you look it up on GIS?
Yeah, it looks like he's like 2 properties away from where the actual sandy beachfront properties are. So he is water, but he doesn't have beachfront.
Okay, I'm just, thinking to myself, why would he use ones over by the beach? But that makes sense if he's comparing himself to beach. Yeah.
And I would I'd like to see all waterfront, maybe even on Old Dam or on the creek side of Fairfield Beach Road. Did he give any on the creek side?
No, he did not.
No, but that wouldn't be fair, do you think? Because that's that's valued much higher.
I know. I'm just saying, like, he is waterfront.
Well, here's what
Waterfront. He's on the beach, guys. Look at the card. It says he's waterfront. He's PC5.
Not on the
beach.
right. He's not on the beach. He's on the water, but he's not on.
What does that mean?
Okay.
He's on the water, but not on the beach.
It's like the first, I don't know, was it like the first 8 or 9 or dozen or so properties on Pine Creek Avenue actually have sandy beach in front of them, and then it ends. And then there's the whole last section of Pine Creek Avenue is just waterfront without a sandy beach.
So is he, if you go down to Pine Creek and you turn left, he's on that?
Yep.
Yeah.
But like Colleen said, some of those houses, the first few you come to, have a sandy beach that they can sit at, they can walk on, they can do whatever.
Yeah.
As you go a little bit farther, now the properties are, they're there, but it's a drop down and they don't have a beach. You're on the water, you don't have a beach.
Yeah.
And by the way, he
I've
did
got a
use,
couple of other thoughts that he pointed out that I want to bring up. His tax increase is 21.6%. His contiguous property neighbor increase was only 5.8%. And that's at 136 Pine Creek. You know, there are properties, he said, it's my understanding that many of the 20% plus tax increases in the area have been successfully appealed and reduced. He's only asking for a reasonable number. I think his comparables are okay. I really, let's take one other look, 1 second.
while you're looking, I just want to say, I'm looking at his comps.
Remember, it's a 3-bedroom house, it's 2,800 square feet.
I'm looking at his comps. His first comp is 1053 Fairfield Beach Road, water side. The odd side is the water side.
Okay.
And sold in September of 2020 for 1,735. And it's 3,278 square feet, 4-bedroom, 3-bath. That's all I need.
Perfect.
I'm
Yeah,
fine
yeah,
with
yeah.
that.
No, that's perfect.
All I need. He's asking
So
for
this
more.
is that- Yeah,
So I'm
sorry, I'm with time, Paulette, I'd like to speak, sorry.
sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, he's on the water. If you look, he's about 8 houses in from the beach. So there's 2 other sales that are waterfront, because we had quite a few appeals here last year. So we took a good look at the sales that were on Pine Creek Avenue. So 262 Pine Creek Avenue, which is not as close to the beach, has got less beachfront than him, sold in October of 2020 for $2,150,000. It was built in 1987. It's FEMA compliant like he is, and it's on 0.117 acres. His property is a little bigger, and it's 2727 square feet, and he's 2810 square feet, and he was built in 2007, so he's newer than them, and I believe he's all redone, and he's a little bit bigger, and he's got more beachfront than that other one. And then there was a sale in September 19, which is just before the reval, at 160 Pine Creek. And if you look at that, that's not nearly as nice a looking house as his house at 160 Pine Creek. And that sold for $750,000. It's a modern home built in 2004. It's not FEMA compliant, and it's 2,400 square feet. So his best comp is I think is 262 Pine Creek that sold for $2,150,000. So I don't see him go, and he's at $2,042,000. He's lower than that comp, and that comp does not have as nice a beach as he does, nor does it have as much land as he has. So I don't see
He doesn't have it.
potential.
He doesn't
No,
have
he's
it.
on the beach. He does. He's on the beach. I don't
Yes.
know. I mean, if you can't see the GIS, I don't think on my laptop, but if someone wants to share the GIS of 152 Pine Creek, for me, it's showing it, before French Street split.
Right, and that there's a whole section there between the last property that's on the sand really is 120. The property is a big property at 136 that has, like, you have to jump down. I remember we had this a couple of years ago. You have to jump down the rocks to get to the sandy beach, but that's at 36. But so the subject property is not on the beach, it's on the rocks.
Then neither is the comp, because the comp is further down the beach.
Yeah.
Other than 262 Pine Creek should be similar, right? Because it's still waterfront, but maybe there's no sand there. So that's a good comp at $2,150,000. I don't see why you need to go over to, Penfield Road and pick properties that are not waterfront properties as comps. He should have picked that one. Sold in October of 2020, October 23rd, for $2,150,000. And it's, like I said, it's FEMA compliant, just like his is. It's a PC5. That's how his property is valued. And I think the neighbor appealed last year. We had a lot of appeals on that street, and the value seems to be the values in the homes there seem to be pretty good. We granted one for somebody who had a very old home, but his home is if you look at the pictures, he's got a pretty nice looking house. And that sale in 2019, right, which is before COVID, for $1,700,000 is a modern, non-FEMA compliant, built in 2004 at 160. So I don't know. I don't see his comps as good comps. If he can't include one on his feet, I don't think he made his case.
I agree that the comps that are not waterfront that he used really don't play into this. I agree with that. I also want to say for the record that we may have had several appeals on that street last year and we only approved one. That had more to do with the makeup of the board and the stubbornness of the people on it than it did what was actually real. That's my opinion. For the record. Kathleen, I let you talk. It's my turn now. Okay. That's my opinion of what happened. So please don't use what happened here because to me, it makes no difference. I did not think half the things we did last year were right, but I wasn't in the majority, so it went through. I had no say. I was treated like crap, so I'm not too keen on what happened last year. And it wasn't just me. Judy wasn't treated well, and neither was Alexa. So I don't want to hear what happened last year when it comes to, well, we didn't approve those because maybe we should have. I'd like to know if anybody knows why Fairfield Beach Road with a bigger house, more bedrooms, more bathrooms, sold right before the end of our valuation period for $1,735,000. Does anybody know why a property on Fairfield Beach Road would be worth less than one on Pine Creek Avenue when it's beachfront and that is only waterfront? Does anybody have an? Because I'm looking at that and I'm like, she has a point, but I'm looking at this and I'm like, well, he found this comp too. So why would we not look at that comp and say, well, I wonder?
That's very strong. That's a very, very strong comp in my opinion. And even if the other ones aren't as strong, that one is incredibly strong.
So that's that. So that appraisal is 179,900, right?
Kathleen, what is the one on South Pine Creek that you're referring to?
That
That's
cap
260. So that's the one that's sold. It looks fairly similar from this. If you look at the field cards, the pictures are fairly similar. It happens to be FEMA compliant, so that adds, at least when they do the appraisals or when they do the assessments, they add 10% for FEMA compliance onto the value of the property. And so his house is FEMA compliant, so I think it's fairly new and it's been raised. I don't think that Fairfield.
Who has a 10%? I'm sorry.
I know, I almost
adds-
don't even care what the town does, but
Well, I'm
Right.
just saying, people tend to advertise that their properties are FEMA compliant when they go to sell them because it probably helps
Yeah,
with their
that's
insurance.
yes.
It adds value to a home. You can't argue that it doesn't
So
add
the
value.
home, that home is
saying-
being offered furnished, by the way. That home is being offered furnished.
The comp?
Which house is that?
Are you saying 262?
That's sold in
Yeah.
October of 22 million.
I just pulled it up on MLS. So it says the home is being offered fully furnished as it appears in all the photos.
Yes, I see that. Yep.
Just noting that, for
Is
whatever.
it on the market?
So that's a huge cha-ching.
I lost you, Kathleen. You were saying something?
I think this
what's
is
it
my
on the
office. Oh, this is Ellen. Yeah, this is Ellen Fusco's.
No, she's my office now.
Yeah. Well, lucky you. Yada yada yada. No, this was designer furnished. I mean,
Yes.
we're gonna go back to this whole rigmarole.
Now, I would consider that an unqualified sale because it doesn't truly represent the value of the home and the land. It represents that plus the furniture.
Well, it's at least a couple $100,000 for that baloney of, furnishings.
Oh, wait a minute. I'm gonna check something out. Did you check and see where that buyer came from, just out of curiosity?
No.
You can do that.
I always lie.
Where do you find that?
Part of business.
Well, you have to
Part
put
of-
it.
It's part of every
just say-
sale.
I think I just found not, I usually get away with it not putting.
Owner's name is Boards de Mer. Okay.
A board
Right.
of,
What do you got on that?
I'll say,
It's an LLC.
yeah.
Okay.
Well, all right. So
Honestly, I think there's two comps here that should be given weight, and that is Fairfield Beach Road, $1.8 million appraisal, and 262 Pine Creek, taking into account that it came with all the furniture at 2,063,000.
Oh, there you go.
What?
That's a good one then. If we take the furniture out.
Well, so the,
Which is
And the convenience
subjective,
of the
but
furniture, right?
yeah, it's subjective, but I'd argue a couple 100,000.
yeah. So that brings us closer to the 1.8 million.
Yeah.
I just want to point out that I know this was 2013, right? He bought it in 2013.
Can't hear you, Peter.
He bought it in 2013. I understand 2013 for 1.8, and then he put 400,000 in to looks like elevate and remodel it, which brings it up towards that 2.2, and I just don't see it falling well below that.
Well, and that's your opinion, that's fine. But again, what happened in 2013 has nothing to do with what happened in 2020. Things happened, things went up and down over those years. That's a long time ago. So I can't, whatever he put into it, but the market dropped again, went up again. It's one of those things. I mean, it's like the stock market goes up and down, up and down. So I can't look at something that happened in 2013. But that's just me. I get your point. You have every right to your opinion. Okay. Judy, this was yours. Do you have anything else to say? Anybody else have anything to say?
No, I'm ready to vote.
Okay, let's go. All those in favor of granting the appeal at the appellate's requested price of $1,800,000, please raise your hand. Okay, I can see Peter, but I can't see Kathleen.
I'm voting no, opposed.
Okay, all right. So the motion carries. The appeal is granted at $1,800,000 by 4 votes to 2, with Peter and Kathleen opposed. Okay, so that's done. Next one.
I do appreciate Kathleen's input on that, by the way,
Oh,
on
found that
262.
We did
Yeah.
have it.
I want to do just one more, and then I want to let Carol go, and I'll keep my other one that I had, and I'll do that next time because she hasn't presented. I'm getting late. Okay, this one should be really quick. Is that okay with everybody?
Fine with me. Which one you want to do?
I want to do 112.
Okay. So
Okay.
we'll that one. And we'll move 112 here. Okay.
I move that we grant the appeal for appeal number 112. This is a personal property, and it was Thomas and Helen and Joanna Quinn, and the property. No, hold on 1 second. Here's the bottom line: is that she wants a 0 value, and I'll explain to you why, and I'll explain why it's reasonable. She, hold on 1 second. I'm trying to get, I'm having trouble getting in. No. Guess what? I don't think I can do this one because right now on my
Well, we're
listing
looking
just
at
went a
it.
little crazy. Okay,
looking
so
at
here's
it.
the thing. She has that business. She got the business name. She never opened it.
Yeah,
She didn't
she
open
says,
the business. She doesn't have anything. She wasn't, so I don't have the town's opinion of value. I think it was $2,000. I'm going off memory. She doesn't have anything. She didn't even open the business.
What kind
of, and
But
it's still
here's the
not
thing.
open as in November of
I think
21.
this is
Doesn't
where
have
I need clarification, because did she file a declaration as 0? Did she file a declaration with the assessor?
I don't think she knew to do that. She's right now, she never started the business. She never
Yeah.
started it. As right now, it's a 60 Charles and it's still not operating. So she doesn't have anything.
what is the business? What
Um,
kind of business?
I-
Super Empowered One? Is that it?
yeah, I have no idea. You know what?
You know what? This is where I think that is because I've had several of these. As I understand it, we can't repeal the penalty. The town assesses it on an appraised value, if they give them nothing, the town bases it on their best available data.
Correct.
So we have the ability to adjust that data, but we can't repeal their penalty.
Well, she didn't ask for that. She just asked for it to be zero. She doesn't have anything. I don't think she realized that she could ask for any adjustment there. She just wants, she doesn't have any property. She just doesn't
Yeah.
want to have that assessment.
She's like, tell her she's got to like file. What I've been telling my people is file the damn thing as a zero just to have it on the town record. But, you know, we will, under oath, we will understand their appeal that they have no value.
I have a question. Well, I look at it, Judy, I have a question. She says she didn't open the business, which I believe, and she has no assets for the business, which I believe. But the town says the business is worth $2,000 because she never filed anything. Now, we don't have the right to cancel her penalty. That's law. We can't do it. But we can make value zero if we're convinced.
Exactly it.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what she's asking.
That's all that I'm asking for. That's all that I'm asking for.
So we can do that. That can be done. But we can't.
Yeah.
We can't just not.
Yeah,
So then
but
she don't have it's 20%, whatever it is.
But
zero.
what I've been saying to my personal property people is I have no problem petitioning it, and I'm sure people will agree based on your testimony. However, it would be appreciated if you would file like everybody else is required to do. If you open a business, you should file it. So file it as zero. So get into the habit of filing it every year.
Yeah, she did file. She filed late, but she filed.
Okay,
I-
okay.
I don't think she filed. Her document's not signed. So they think that's, in the past, we have always said, if you have zero, go down the hall, go into the assessor's office, fill it out with a zero value. I have nothing, and sign it. And then you filed, and then she'll have nothing on the record. So that's, you know, for I don't know how many years, 5 years, 6, 7, 8 years, even back when you guys were on. That's what we always ask people to do, is just go down the hall, fill it out as zero, and then you will have zero. A penalty on zero is zero, but you need to file. And, you know, don't just come to us, say, I don't have anything, go down, you know, sign a piece of paper and get it on file with the assessor's office. And then the process starts. Next year, she'll get, you know, she'll get zero. Otherwise, they assume she has something. So,
But
I mean, if you want to call her, Judy, and ask her or check with the assessor, maybe she did.
You know
file.
what?
She
No.
just-
So here's what I think. I think while we're here, this is what we'll do. I'd like to grant the fair market value of zero for a personal property. I will call her and tell her to go down and make sure she declares a zero personal property so she's covered for next year.
Yeah. That's
She
fine.
felt
I think the signature on
fine.
there, right? Yeah.
she's
Page 10 has a signature. She
There's
didn't put
nothing to
zero on.
argue. There's nothing to argue here.
where's her
Paulette,
signature?
did you second?
She signed it. Her signature's on here.
She didn't put zero. She didn't fill anything in.
She tells it on the next page that it's not active as of October 2021.
Yeah, Judy is representing her value.
She has
And then
zero.
she filed.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the papers. It looks like she
I'm
filed.
just saying, a lot of my people did not put anything. They don't know what they're
Yeah,
doing.
yeah, I see it. Yeah. I'm ready to vote.
That's
Stamped in
fine.
by them. So she could have filled that out for us. I don't know. Just whatever.
Oh my God.
Just
Tell
say-
me what I have to say. These people are under oath. If we can't believe that, we don't belong on the board. They are under oath. You know what? Next year, let's not have anybody go under oath, and then we can like accuse them
All
of.
right, we're good. We're good. We're good. I'm ready
Yeah.
to vote.
She
Vote.
filed. That's what I'm asking. Did she file definitely? We don't have a definite. That's all.
We do have a definite. The paper's in front of us. She signed it. She submitted it. And she said she did it. She's under oath. Therefore, we must
I-
accept.
I did not hear Judy say she submitted it. Sorry about that. I missed that part.
She said she had zero property, zero value of anything. That was at the hearing.
And she gave.
Ready
So
to
can we
vote
vote on
Ms.
this
Quinn.
now?
Yeah.
I'll call her.
Let's vote. I'm ready to vote, except I just want to say that when somebody submits paperwork to us, I'm assuming, because they're under oath, that that is the legal document that's part of their appeal. I'm sorry if I'm the only one who believes that. I'm sorry if people think I'm gullible, but if you give that to me in your oath, then I have to accept it. I don't get to choose. And it's not my place to go and figure it out and go to the assessor and check up on it. That's just me. Let's vote. Judy, go ahead.
Well, I make a motion that we grant the appellant's value of $0 on appeal number 112. Did we have a second?
Oh,
All in
nobody's
favor?
second now. In the beginning. All those in favor?
This is Kathleen. I'm abstaining. I think you got 5 in favor and 0 against and 1 abstention.
Thank you.
So the motion is granted to reduce the value of that business to 0 with 5 in favor and 1 abstention. The motion passes. Okay, that's it for you, Judy?
Yeah, Carol needs to go.
Yeah, let me get going.
What's one you have, Carol?
Well, I gotta try to bang this out in 30 minutes. So, I'm gonna ride the coattails of personal property by going with appeal number 92, which is 1571 Stratfield Road. It is Sunrise Senior Living Management. The
Wait, how
appellant
much
is
is that?
talking, huh?
Carol, how much is that worth?
The town value is 1,305,000,
Forget
and
it.
his
We're not hearing it. Go on.
Yeah,
We're not hearing that.
anything over $1 million.
No, this is personal property. It's not commercial
Oh.
real estate. We're not here for real estate. I think this is marked as personal
Yeah, that's what
property.
I thought.
Okay.
This isn't just an error, guys. It's kind of a no-brainer, in my opinion.
Okay, go ahead.
So, all right. So, this gentleman actually is from Virginia. So he didn't appear in person. I talked to him on the phone. The company is a, senior living, property management, actually a property development firm. And he erroneously placed the value higher by $80,000 when he filled out his declaration under the appropriate time period. He erroneously put an $80,000 design fee that should have been an expense. So he provided the corrected backup on his backup in the file, but he did not file it because when he tried to do it online, according to him, it shut down after the deadline period of November, whatever, of 2021. So I sent him a scanned copy of the property declaration pages. I copied them, scanned them, and sent it to him. And he is going to fill that out according to the paperwork which he's already provided. So all he's asking for is the requested value, which is $80,642 off of his town value based on an error in the original paperwork. That's it. So I'm inclined to grant it to him.
Yeah, I mean, it
Oh,
seems like a no-brainer.
Yeah.
okay. All in
You made
favor of granting the appeal to take the $80,000 off of his income part, right? I guess that's what we'd say.
Well, off of the assets. And
Of the assets, that's right, off the
yeah,
assets.
off the assets. Yeah.
Please raise your hand. Okay, I see 4. I can't see the other 2. Either way.
It looks like it's unanimous.
Okay, then let's go with unanimous. Motion passes at the value of $80,642. Next.
Okay. So the next one, I'm going to go to Amanda Flanagan, who is appeal number 78, 111 Aaron Hill Road. Apparently she appealed this last year, not to her success, and she's come back again because she feels she has a compelling case. I'm just going to show you, she provided me with an entire binder. I have never seen such an impressive presentation, and whatever. I'm on the board for 1 year, but I've listened to a lot of appeals. and I've been helping people out who have not given me the right data. This is the most thorough analysis I've ever seen in my life. She's asked for two things. She's presented Harriet Busker's appraisal, which again, I'm not really inclined to start questioning appraisers that I cherish, and Harriet Busker is one of them. And her appraisal came in at the requested value of the appellant, which is $800,000. The town has it appraised at $1.4 million instead. In it, I need to make a note that part of her appeal in tab number, mind you, she gave me a binder with 5 tabs. Tab number 3 is called Outbuildings, where she did an analysis on all of the barns in her neighborhood that were evaluated. And she went to Ken, and Ken has reevaluated that barn to poor condition. It was valuated at good condition. So her town value has gone down from the sheet that you're looking at as of like a week ago, from $1.4 million down to $958, simply based 958, simply based on that barn, which is in disrepair. I'm not even going to argue it. She was right. He agreed. So the value has gone down by 40,000 based just purely on an incorrect assessment of the outbuilding. So now we're again just based on her request of the total property being appraised at 800,000. Harriet has pulled what I consider to be good comps. If I'm not mistaken, several of them are very close by. One is on Erin Hill in and of itself. One is on Hemlock, and the other one is on Wellington, which arguably, again, I don't really want to piecemeal appraisals. I really don't. I value Harriet. Wellington, at the very least, is borderline on Westport, as we know. It is north of the Merritt, but I would actually argue that that is a higher value because it's closer to Westport. In any case, Harriet's value came in at 800, so I am highly inclined to go with this compelling appeal at 800,000.
Paulette, did you second that?
I did, I seconded.
Okay.
Let me just take a look. Erin Hill sold for 807. Tuesday, 25.
And Harriet would have spoken to us, but I had to get Greg Lane because she had a oral surgery. But she equally comments to me that she turns down more people. She's just one of those people. She's like, I'm not going to take your money unless I think it's worth it, as does Greg. And because it just devalues her value, to other people. And she took this on feeling that was a very compelling case. I don't know what happened last year. I was not there. I don't know who had it.
I don't remember last year, but that's okay.
But she has, anyway, it's resurfacing, and I'm sold on, everything that she's provided to me. And I feel I'm happy that Ken has reevaluated the barn as well.
Let me just take a look at interior pics. All right, so this isn't like her house isn't anything terribly special inside. I can looking at the comps. And those are two good comps on Erin Hill and Hemlock Hills. Both closed during the valuation period. He adjusted Erin Hill, 477 Erin Hill up to 809, but then he brought 250 Hemlock Hills down to 786, 475. So I'm inclined to say that, her valuation of 800 is probably right on target here.
I think it's appraisal. I have no problem with those two comps, especially. Wellington, so, but the other two are compelling enough for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Wellington, again, I would argue might be higher, to be honest with you.
The thing about Wellington is it is right on.
That's a good comp. I mean, he looked for them, but probably not. I would just go with the first two.
Yeah, me too. I'll just use those two. I'm not going to use Wellington.
50. Let me just look at 250. I want to look at
The other one on Hemlock Hills, and it was adjusted, so also has a
Well,
pool.
they're all adjusted. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that one,
But I mean,
slightly higher than hers, and it also has a pool with a sale price, not the adjusted price, but the sale. Is that a sale price? Let me go back. Maybe it's not a sale price. Let me go back and look at that. No, let's see now. Oh, sale price 8075. So
yeah. Let me just look at this one. Closed. Oh yeah, the one on Hemlock Hills. Yeah, had a much nicer kitchen. Much nicer. Yeah, that was a nicer house, which is why he adjusted that.
She.
She, sorry. Yeah, I
Not all Greg.
I know. All right, well, I'm ready to vote.
okay,
Okay.
all those in favor of granting appeal number whatever it is, number 78 to the requested value of 800,000, please raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Unanimous. It's unanimous. The motion carries at the requested value of 800,000. Next.
Okay. All right. Okay. I'm losing okay. So next I'm going to jump to, sorry about my jumping around. I'm jumping to appeal number 70, which is appeal of Willie Mann, which is 293 East Lawn.
I second.
No, Willie.
Oh yeah,
Good man.
we love.
Done a lot of our mortgage appeals, or mortgage, or mortgages for our clients.
Mortgages, yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. This one's been interesting, guys. So, Willie has made an appeal for a market value of $1,620,000, and his town is valued at $1,300,000. So I really dug into this one, probably because it's my neighborhood. I live on James Street, and I know this like the back of my hand blind. So I was able to poke holes where they needed to be poked, and I was able to validate what needed to be validated. So I feel really good about this one, if I might say so. So I told him that I'm discounting all of his comps that he provided 11. He provided a number that were on Vera's Street, and Vera's I don't count because it's a busy road and it's a crappier road than Pratt, East Lawn, and James, in that order. So Vera's is a perpendicular street, and it's busy. So I discounted his Vera's. I also discounted Oldfield Drive as a comp because that I don't think we need to. So I was left with 3 on Pratt, 1 on Catherine Terrace, 1 on James, and 1 on East Lawn. And I know all of these homes like the back of my hand. So 2 of the comps on Pratt, which sold, again, these were all during the comp period of 2020. So 2 of the ones on Pratt were brand new constructions. Those were 75 Pratt, which sold for $1,215,000, and the town square footage of 3,000 is wrong. It's 3,300 square feet. Our subject property is 3,400 square feet, and it was built in 2015. The other new construction on Pratt was 166 Pratt, another one of his comps, which sold for 1,225. And that was really high, quite honestly, because it was only 2,400 square feet. So when I looked at all these and I did like a quick analysis, I called him up and so his analysis, which he provided, and you're probably looking at the backup, he took all 11 comps and he did his own adjusted comp. And I said to him, Willie, with all due respect, you're not an appraiser. We as a board have made a decision to value appraisers, and you're not one of them. So I love him to death, but I said, I can't look at your adjusted values because you don't have the credentials to make adjustments. So I kind of threw that out and he was like, okay, fine, Carol. So I said, I'm not going to get near your 1062. So he has revised his ask to what I feel is legit, which is 1.2. So 1,000,002, which is lower than 1,000,003, which is what the town has it at. And to be quite honest, just to let you know, all of these homes that have sold, all of these comps that sold in the 1,000,002-ish range in 2020 are appraised at 1.1. But I told him, I can't use your appraised value because I have so many comps that are shouting at me. So I can't even use your 1.1. I got to go to 1.2. And he's like, all right, Carol, I'm good. So I feel like I've done justice to everyone, the town, the appellant, and I'd like to make a motion to grant in part for 1,000,002.
Second it.
All those in favor of granting doing the grant part?
Can you see me because my dog just knocked
I
into.
can't now.
No.
All right, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna leave this meeting and I'm gonna come right back in, but I'm voting yes to approve this. He did something with my phone and I'm in audio only mode and I can't change it.
Okay, it's unanimous, everybody.
All right.
Okay. Appeal, the motion carries. Appeal is granted at the new requested value of 1,000,002. Carol, go ahead.
Okay, okay. I think my last one is appeal number 93, which is good old Kathy on 1522 Burr Street. So their town value is 700,006, so 706,500. She's requesting a reduction of $70,000 for a total requested value of 635 and change.
What appeal is this?
Appeal number 93.
93, okay.
So, Kathy provided backup just a couple of hours ago. They lost their appeal from last reval, but they found it and sent it to all of us. And basically, they won their appeal last reval, because the town hadn't accounted for their wetlands. And they got their new number and noticed that the wetlands weren't accounted for this time. So they've asked for that reduction, and they came up with that number by taking the 20% of their land, which is wetlands and has restrictions on it, and came up with, an evaluation based on that 20% reduction. I will say that, again, I'm trying to look at this as evenly as possible. A couple of things, which you will also note, my fellow realtors. There's a very close comp which sold in the 2020 evaluation period, which they didn't present, which is their property in front of them. So property 1506 Burr Street, I'm sure you know it. That sold right in front of them for $784 during in September of 2020. That property also had wetlands. It was a little bit less square footage and smaller property. It's 31 versus 33 square feet. It's also a 4-bedroom. It's on 1.2 acres versus Kathy's is 1.8 acres. But that's a hard comp, like staring me in the face. The one thing that she was able to provide last time when they did the appeal and were granted their appeal was they were able to provide comps during that period. So if you look at the email that you got like several hours ago, the backup says, 2 points. Their property had wetlands and they were overvalued based on the comps. This time they only basically based their evaluation on wetlands, no comps. So it's hard for me. I'm struggling to, grant them their request because I do see that a home right in front of them. Now, granted, would I say that the home in front of them would have more value than the one behind them? We all know that that's the truth. It sucks to be the lot behind another home. But just bear in mind, so that home sold for $784, and the town has valued the appellant's property at $706. So I'm struggling to find a real reason, unless someone can come up with something else that they know about this property, to grant them the request when I don't have really data to support it.
This is Paulette. About this property that, like you said, the interior lot, so that is valued less. Also, the wetlands seem to be in the front of the property. Now, I happen to know that in order to put a driveway in, you have to cross that wetlands, and that requires a significantly large amount of money. So it could raise the price of your driveway by another $20,000 or so, or $15,000. I don't know the exact number, but to do a wetland crossing is a lot more work. You have to go to conservation, to go to present the plans, but it also makes the cost of doing the work that much more money, which is not a positive. Also, the back corner of the property, some of that property that you can't see it because there's also a wetland setback in the back, but also that property, part of it abuts the Merritt Parkway. So you've got the parkway there that you can see.
So the town has adjusted the 90% for parkway. They haven't adjusted it for wetlands. And
That's what I was gonna say, right?
That's their argument. They've got parkway adjustment, but not wetlands adjustment.
Right. So I think that we should be looking at that wetland adjustment because I believe that they deserve it.
Yeah,
Especially
they've done it before. They said it was previously adjusted.
Good.
And it's no longer recognized, it should go back.
Yeah, my question is, this is where it goes back to the whole, do we adjust the property card? Because if it was on the property card as a wetland adjustment, in addition to the parkway adjustment, we wouldn't be having this discussion necessarily.
Yeah, then why did it come off? What happened?
Sometimes that happens. Sometimes that happens.
Kathleen wants to talk. Kathleen's got her hand up. What's up? You have an idea, Kathleen?
I'm just saying, sometimes though that's not because of the 0.9. Somebody types that comment in there. So they adjusted the property. If you look at, I just called up the GIS, right? And I looked at a few of the properties around all there. They're all like 0.9s. They're all probably pretty wet. And again, what goes in that line is a comment. So when somebody put it in there, they may have just put parkway instead of wet. But they all, I'm looking at, one other one here. Yeah, they're all 0.9, like all those ones on Elvira are 0.9, and they all say Parkway. So, and they're all wet. So I think that it's consistent on that street. I don't think unless they're unduly, I've driven down there before. It's in general, the whole area is pretty wet in there. So I think her land value is in line with the neighbor, and again, at the end of the day, it's really about what it would sell for. That's what we have to look at most of the time. And if we want the note to be changed to say Parkway/wet, but none of their neighbors have that either. So they'd have to change all of them. So, and I think the sale is, that's a very compelling sale there in the front. If that's sold for that price, I find it really hard to say that she's going to be less than that when her house if it's bigger and, a bigger piece of property, it's more private.
It would be less. It would be less because it's behind. It's significantly less because it is behind a property. It's kind of up to us to decide how
What
much.
about,
Let me ask you a question, Kathleen.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
you have the choice to have your home, except behind your home, which house would you prefer?
I mean, it depends. I'd rather be behind somebody than in front of somebody because I get more privacy, but everybody's different. But look, 66 Elvira sold in the reval period as well. So that's right on they're all on, her address happens to be Burr, but she abuts Elvira. So 66 Elvira, whether that's a better or a worse comp, but that sold for $730 on 12/31/2020. So just outside the reval period, it sold for $730. And she wants to go to 635. I mean, I'm just, and that one's closer to the Merit. That one still has the same. I don't know if it's a lot bigger or not. It's a 1962, home, but still, I'm not seeing the 635. And I wouldn't do it just because she 20% of her property is wet. So that's how she did her math. She didn't really do
her
it.
math. Yeah, she took the math, and they both, her and her husband, took the math at 20% of the total square feet of the lot, and took it off. They took it off because that's what they thought was done last time.
No. I'm sorry, Carol. Just because another neighbor doesn't have a wetlands discount or condition noted, doesn't mean if they haven't come up and asked for a change, they don't get one. She's asking for a change. It was there before. I don't see why we can't give it back to her.
I can put it in the note. If we could add it to the note that it's wet and she has Parkway, and they should add it. The Elvira one is probably wetter. The one that just sold, and that's closer to the Merit. And that's
they're not appealing your taxes, so that doesn't sit with me. She's not appealing your taxes based on that. She already had it.
Is it sold? The Elvira one sold in December of 2020 for $730,000.
Yeah,
but in this case, she's not saying that her property is overvalued because it's the comps of the sales. This is a clear case of a card correction with a change in the value based on the fact that she has wetlands. The fact that her neighbors did not complain is their problem. Just because everybody's at 90, if everybody jumps off the bridge, are you going with them? I'm not, because
it is annoying that she's going to have to come back every 5 years and
the other thing, but let me just use some comps. So you want to talk comps? Let's talk comps. I know of properties in the university area too, come to mind, on the same street, with a much smaller amount of wetland issues, and their values are down to 0.85 on theirs. So why should she, with that much more wetlands, and don't forget, she's got wetland and then
order,
which is probably bigger.
Order.
I'm sorry.
Order, please.
Now I'm talking.
Point of order.
No, I'm talking.
Point
you want
of order overrides everything else. Point of order interrupts the conversation. I'm asking for a point of order.
Common courtesy says you don't talk when somebody's talking. All I'm saying, I'm not pointing out the addresses. I am using comps that I've looked at that say the value is 0.85. Why should someone with more wetlands and a bigger buffer not get the same treatment just because their neighbors didn't ask for something? In fact, if I lived on that street I'm talking about, I'd probably want to see if I had the same condition factor. Now, and as we keep changing things to Wasuda, now it's the comps for sale. This is a card correction. She deserves to be credited or reduced based on the fact that she has those wetlands. I don't believe she knew, and I know that she could have known when she bought that house, that it was going to cost extra money if she had to put a driveway in, which I believe they did do, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and they're actually not, just to make you feel good, they're not counting the driveway as part of their reduction. It was purely based on the usable lot, land, less the driveway easement, or, you know, the venue to get to their property. So, all right, well, I'd like
You
to
know,
make a motion to grant the 635 request, 635,680 request for this appeal.
Also, I'd like to add to that. I'd like to add that we can grant it, but I would like to ask the assessor to make a change in the field card reflecting the wetlands and the lowering of the property value because of it, so we can see where that number comes from.
I second that.
Okay.
I can hear you, Peter. I think Peter's trying to talk.
What is it, Peter?
Their volume's not on or something. I can't hear you.
Don't know why that is. Can you hear me?
Now we can.
Okay.
Yes.
So, I think what Kathleen was saying before is that, you know, all the neighbors have the same coding on the, and it just might be the fact that the note was changed. Doesn't mean that they weren't giving credit for the wetlands. I think go back and check the old card and see, see back, if there was an adjustment that was there previously and now it's been removed for some reason. You should know that would make, but we can't just say they should go because they might already have the adjustment on.
Well, let me ask you this, Peter. Let me just give you an example. Think of it this way. If you lived there, okay, and you knew that people with smaller properties with less wetlands in town were getting a bigger discount than you, wouldn't you want the same thing? After all, you have more of a hardship on your property. Wouldn't you argue that you deserve at least what they have, if not more?
And you'd have to, everyone is different. So you'd have to look at it. What I'm saying is we don't have all the information. We're saying the appellant said that there was wetland, a condition was removed from her card. We don't know if that's accurate. So let's go back to the old card and find out.
All I have is the data that she was granted her appeal based on the wetlands back in 2016. And it was much lower, and now it went higher based on movement in the market. And
Yeah.
she's just requesting a $70,000 reduction. I mean,
And
I would argue that, like I said, that I just wanted to point that comp out. She didn't point it out. It's my job to do my due diligence, and I point that out, the one in front of hers. But that being said, it is in front of her house. So, one could argue there's hundreds of $1,000s value less to be, the stepchild, quote unquote, behind someone else's house. Really?
Well, and then I've been on both of these properties. So Elvira was owned by the Hines family, Kevin and Sue Hines. Oh, I know that property sits higher than Van Torn House. I've been on Van Torn House property. There's definitely more wetlands back there, just from a visual standpoint. So I kind of agree that they should have that deduction on their card, both for Merritt Parkway and wetlands.
Okay, so it's one of those where if we vote and agree on it, the assessor has got to, like, I guess if we ask for him to adjust the card, he's got to work work the formula so that it.
Right,
comes to
that's
that
right.
number.
Yeah, can we
Not my job.
vote?
He's
for-
got to
can we-
work it.
Yeah,
You can work that 0.85 if you want, take another 5% off for the wetlands and do it that way. And then he probably will go right to the card for that number because you've come up with it. So they're at 0.9 right now or whatever that number is. If you take 0.85 of that, that'll take something off. If you think it
Okay.
should be even lower than that, then go to 80% of the total and, of the land value. And then you can come up with what you want. She took 20% of her total land value right before, but not with the 0.9 production. She took off more. She took 20% off after her 0.9. Is that accurate?
She took 20% of the property, not including the driveway, which if you look at the lot is a very long, it's a weird flag almost with the driveway being like a flagpole getting to their property. So they didn't include any of that square footage in the driveway. They just started it with the wetlands after the driveway. So I don't know. I feel good about it. I wanted to point that comp out to you in all fairness, but if we're ready to vote, I'd like to vote, please.
Sure.
9 o'clock.
Okay. What are we voting on, Carol? You want to tell us what we're voting?
Yeah, so we're voting on the requested value, which is 635,680 versus the town value of 706,500. And I would also, Kathy Grande, request that the town, that the assessor's office make a correction on the card to get to this requested value. Right now, he's got a 90.9% condition reduction. I'm not going to do the math. He can figure it out where it needs to get to not only correct for the parkway noise, but also the wetlands.
Okay.
Okay, and add the wetlands to the card. Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, all in favor of granting that appeal the way Carol described it, please raise your hand.
Judy, Helene, Carol, Paulette.
Okay. All those opposed?
Kathleen, Peter.
Okay, the motion carries to grant the appeal. It was as it was presented by a vote of 4-2 with Peter and Kathleen opposed. Okay. So that was it for you, Carol, right?
Yeah, thank you.
Yep. So that was your Thursday ones that you did.
Yeah,
So then you still have tomorrow and Wednesday.
yeah.
Okay. All right. I just want to make sure we had that. And Judy, we have to take your appeal number 1. What was it?
I have a few more left. That's it.
You have 110 left. And what else?
Bear with me. I remember 110.
Yep.
90, was it 98? We have 98 and number 8 and number 76.
98, 76, and 8. Are you around on Thursday or no?
Hold on a second. I think I can't do Thursday, but I could do Friday.
Okay. I sent out an email. I don't know if everybody saw it. In order to get done on time, because we still have to go back to the ones that were postponed, and the assessor is going to have a list, I believe. Those are easy to do, though. Pretty much, we usually just go with those. But I want to get finished as soon as I can. Would we have a quorum on Friday? How many people could do Friday?
Oh, I could do Wednesday. I
I
can't.
can do Friday until 7. I'm good for 2 hours, but I don't want to go
Yeah,
much later than that.
actually,
We're
I'm
not.
babysitting Friday night, so I've got to get kids to bed after 7, so.
Okay.
I could do Wednesday. We're supposed to have an RTC meeting, but I'll finish this is more important. So I would do this Wednesday.
If
Yeah.
we do it Wednesday, we'll have to move along because we already have like 15 to do Wednesday.
Yeah.
I guess I can put them up between Tuesday and Wednesday. There's only a few of them. Tuesday and Wednesday.
This is Paulette. I have 60. I think we still have 60 left. That's my count. Is with the postponements and then what's left, I see 60.
Oh, yeah, I
Now
wasn't
maybe
counting before. Yeah, there's about 10 of those.
Right, but I have 60 total left to go. So I don't know that, what's today? Monday? I mean, if we can do more tonight, we might be able to, make more progress by Thursday. I don't know. And the only other thing with the recommended by assessor is that if any of them are increases, because they can be decreases or increases when he changes things on the cards, we need to give them 7 days notice and give them a hearing if it's a raise of their assessment. So we've not been following that protocol in the past, but we realized that last year with Jim Baldwin, that if any of the recommended by assessors are increases, they get a notice and they get 7 days to appeal to us. So we really can't finish until we
7
know
days.
what's on that.
We have to finish by the 31st. So
Right,
if they-
but I'm just saying, better to do the recommended by assessor in case there's some increases on there, and then, we have to give them 7 days, right? So it'd be a problem if we did them next Monday night. So maybe we want to get those on the agenda, and then if he's ready. And maybe it doesn't have any increases, and then it's a non-issue, but.
Okay.
um,
I'll call him
just
tomorrow.
saying.
I'll call him tomorrow and see if he's got any increases. Judy can do Wednesday, you said?
Yeah, I can do Wednesday.
Right, that's 98, 76 and 8, Judy. Okay. All right, so I guess we may have to go beyond 9 o'clock on Wednesday if we're gonna get done.
So are we saying we can do Friday from 5 to 7 with a quorum or no?
I don't think so. I don't hear that. I could be wrong.
Oh,
Or no?
we rather go longer on Wednesday, is that it?
We're definitely gonna have to go longer on Wednesday. We might even have to go longer tomorrow.
Guys, my son is not feeling well and I need to tend to him.
Go.
Okay.
I know. I want
Okay.
to be able to be at the end of the meeting, but I mean, you guys are gonna be okay if I drop out now?
Go ahead. I'll text you and I can call you and let you know what if we're gonna go longer or whatever, and see if you're available.
Okay, great, thank you.
You're
All right,
welcome.
so Paulette, basically what you're saying is in lieu of 2 extra hours on Friday, you're gonna add an extra hour potentially Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday.
Right.
Okay,
On
that's
Thursday
fine.
for appeals.
Let's
but I
just
just have
get this done.
Okay, so we'll go. Kathy, can you do till 10?
Tonight?
No, tomorrow and Wednesday.
Okay.
Okay, is everybody okay with that?
Yeah, just revise the schedule with appeals, with a presentation.
All right, I'll do that. Okay,
Yeah, so you're gonna
We're on
send
for
us,
Thursday anyway, right?
Paulette, you'll send us tomorrow's?
I already sent you tomorrow. Oh, tomorrow's? Yeah, I'll have to add on to tomorrow's. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Please do.
Okay.
All right.
Kathy, do you have something to say?
I was just
Oh.
saying, we're still on Thursday too, right? We're doing all 4 nights this week. Am I right?
Yeah. Thursday. Yep, we're still doing
Yeah.
Thursday. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, all righty. All those in favor of adjourning, please raise your hand. I think it's unanimous. Okay, we'll adjourn the meeting at 9:10 p.m. Thank you. I'll see you.
Okay.
Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you.